season 2, I want to care for it, but like Ted Lasso, all 3 seasons, awesome, epic. I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
they left right on the top. I mean, Sons of Anarchy was like that as a couple of
But like
bummer
Ted
seasons.
Lasso,
But I lost Succession, Barry, and Ted Lasso in the span of 6 days. I mean, come on, man.
Right.
That's just not right.
Well, we are live. Welcome to another episode of Dares Per Second podcast. Episode
episode 135.
135. I know. Well, you know
You
what?
did not know.
Yes,
You were waiting. I could tell
I'm
you were
looking
kind
at
of
the
like
screen to
you were
remember.
slow playing it, like
So
episode. And I had,
135. 135 episodes, and I keep forgetting that I'm the odd number every time for the most part. But great opportunity to have a show. It's hot as heck outside, and anybody decides to watch this podcast with us live, we really appreciate y'all. But definitely don't want to waste anybody's time. We're already running a little bit late, but that's okay because I'll take the fault for it because on my show, it's on my channel this time. I'll take the fault for it. But I do want to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the man of many slaps, the man that literally makes videos and makes us cry. Slumbo Backslap, how have you been, sir? What's been going on with you?
makes us cry.
You make me cry every time. Every time I see a video from you, sir, I cry.
Oh, stop it!
I do. It's like the most beautiful thing. It's like the beautiful game.
Stop it. Look, okay, you're doing too much right now.
I love you.
Anyway, but I'm glad to be back. And glad to see our lovely chat here. Everyone is looking good out here, and we're gonna have a good show because we got an awesome guest on. And you wanna do the honors?
No, you know what? I will let you do that, sir, because I know you've probably been practicing.
No, I haven't been practicing, but I am familiar.
I know you are, so go ahead and do it.
So like, I am excited to have him on. We are excited to have Mr. Patrick Gallagher on. And an actor that I've seen in multiple things already ahead, and this is something I think for our video game community, someone who we are all familiar with, the main antagonist Khotun Khan in Ghost of Tsushima. Patrick, we are so happy to have you. How you doing, bro?
How you doing? And listen, I need to cop up. It's my fault we're late because I couldn't figure out how to use Discord because I'm old. So I'm gonna take the responsibility for that.
No, you're fine. Guess what? They still gonna blame me anyway, so it doesn't matter. No, we really appreciate you.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here, guys.
So I do have one question. The way he said Ghost of Tsushima. So being one of the main antagonists in the game. How do you actually pronounce? Is it Tsushima? Is it Tsushima? How is it actually pronounced,
the
sir?
T is silent. It's
but there's a lot of people out here saying it wrong, so we just want to make sure, and we want to hear from a person that actually heard from the mouth of Sucker Punch how it's pronounced. How is it pronounced?
As far as I know, it was Ghost of Tsushima. But that's how I heard it. But we didn't call it that for probably until we started shooting. They always have code words.
Yeah, what was the code word name for this game?
It was Rain. Like it's a rain of a
Cold
king.
Rain.
Yeah, so so we called it Rain. So then I heard it. My understanding is it's Ghost of Tsushima, but I don't really. I'm not an expert in that, but that's how I say it.
Oh,
so I just call it. Jin got lucky.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be great.
That's
I
call it Khotun slipped. That's what I call it.
Well, look, we're gonna get to that game in a moment. I want to kind of like just dive deep into just your acting history first before we get to that. So and I did a little research ahead of time. Checked you out. You got a long history in acting. If IMDb is correct, your first role is like an uncredited role on like a 90s RoboCop TV show, which I didn't even know existed.
I didn't know that existed either, sir.
But I was 13 back then, so who knows what I was doing. But like, how did you get into acting, Patrick?
Well, that was my first job. I think I played a security guard, and I didn't know what I was doing. So on the master shot, I think my line was, "You come with me," and I put my left hand on their shoulder, and didn't realize that when we got to the close up, that didn't work, and I had to put my right hand on the shoulder. So I apparently messed up my first ever shot ever. I got into it because I come from a very educated family. I'm half Chinese, half Irish. I think in our family there's 6 PhDs, 11 master's degrees, and 27 bachelor's degrees. And I was always relatively smart, but I didn't like doing the work. So I was the only person that never went to university. I dropped out like after the second year of sociology. So I basically just auditioned at a community college for a theater program to get my parents off my butt so I could say I was in college, and then really liked it, and twist of fate, auditioned for the National Theatre School of Canada and got in. And that's when I started to realize that how much I love this and that it's a possibility to make it as a career. And I've been fortunate, I think I punched my last time clock on Mother's Day of 2002 at the White Spot restaurant in Vancouver, and then went off and did Master and Commander, and I've been working as an actor ever since. So I've been very fortunate.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I know some people when I was in college that were like they were like theater majors, and they 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 can't wait for their big break. And I know a few that's still trying, and I'm 42 now, so they're probably around the same age. They're still trying to break through. But it's awesome to see someone break through and then just have that long period of consistent work out there. And then the fact that you could just say, yeah, I don't have a 9 to 5 no more. I mean, a lot, that's a dream for a lot of us.
It is.
um
And and it's funny because I spent the first 9 or 10 years, I was a doorman at a hotel. I was bouncer at a nightclub in Toronto. I used to call people and ask them survey questions. And I get it. And even once I got that, I remember before I got the job on Master and Commander, I was working in restaurants and I just need one job. I was thinking about quitting because it was a hard road and I need the one job to get me going. But even since then, there have been periods where I haven't worked for a year and a half, 2 years. So, I've been fortunate that I had family to help when I needed it every once in a while. Um, but I would just tell these people to keep going. I remember one of our first weeks in theater school, one of our teachers looked around at us. I think we'd been in school for a week or two and said, listen, the people that work when they're 40 weren't necessarily the best people at your age. They're the ones that kept doing it. And I'm a big respecter of following the dream. I think anyone who calls themselves an actor is as much of an actor as I am, or as someone who's won an Academy Award. I don't think you're an actor based on how much you work. You're an actor once you say you're an actor, and you just got to keep going, you know, and wait for that time and just believe in yourself. There's a certain amount of luck, but I think you need to put yourself in a position to have that luck come to you. So anybody who's out there struggling, just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you say that because I think I've had similar conversations with our mutual friend Ramon Terrell, who
Yep.
we like to call. Look, Ramon has been in stuff already, and and sometimes he's just like, oh, it's the grind is difficult trying to really like get out there, and we call him our hallmark.
He's the Hallmark
Hallmark Channel Actor of the Year.
after the year.
We come up with all these like these awards for Ramon and everything. It's hilarious, but like we love bro. He's awesome. He's been on the show a few times with us too, just like because he's a gamer and he's
Multiple
been
different types of shows, not just this one.
true. But no, back to you, Patrick. What would you say is your favorite role? The favorite
Ooh,
role that you've been in?
that's a tough one. I mean, I think
What?
Attila the Hun Night Museum has a special place in my heart because that was such a big thing for me,
Mm-hmm.
in my career. But as an actor, I made that language up. I learned a lot on that. I sort of came out of my shell. Glee was a great job, but the one that I had probably the most satisfying time doing was Men of a Certain Age. I really loved playing that part, which I did it like 6 episodes in 2010 or something like that. But I really like them all. I'm just fortunate to work. I love working, so every job is fun.
Oh, it looks like we have a Glee fan in the chat. Shout out to Stone, who's telling you to
Yep.
say Glee.
Say
Glee was
Glee.
I love. I mean, Glee was so much fun, especially that first year before anybody knew what it was, because it's hard to realize how groundbreaking that show was
It
in
was.
2010.
Yeah.
And nobody knew if people were going to like it, and it was something that hadn't been done before, and nobody was. It wasn't. It's a very different working before a show comes out, before it becomes successful, because there are just certain things about the industry that change the way the show operates. It changes the way people operate. It's just how it is. It's not a good or a bad thing, but things change. That first season shooting, before anybody saw it, it just was about having fun together and doing the work, and that was a really great time. So
Was
it was a
Glee
fun character to
before
play.
was Glee before Pitch Perfect?
I
Because I kind of wonder
don't
if it kind of
know.
started like that kind of genre of like musical TV TV shows and movies. Because I know that for a while you would kind of see them. They were kind of like, it's like an ebb and flow. Sometimes you'll see a lot of movies or TV shows that fit a particular mode come out, and then they kind of like go out of style for a while. But I kind of feel like Glee started it in that time period for like a little while. I almost start seeing movies pop up like that. Was Glee first that kind of like bring that out at that time period?
I think so, because according to IMDb Pro, Pitch Perfect came out in 2012.
That would make
So
sense.
yeah, so I think it did, and I think it was, it was like the style of that show, the sort of um the way it was shot, the way it was written so well. I loved it because it was about underdogs, and about being yourself. I think was
Mhm.
what I liked the most about that show. Because it's hard being in high school. I'm sure a lot of us out there were bullied. I was bullied. I was a punk rocker in a small town in Chilliwack, just outside of Vancouver. I had batteries thrown at me.
Mhm.
I always felt different, and I think what I liked about that show is it was saying it's okay to be different and just be yourself. You know, so that was like
Fact.
one of my
Yeah.
favorite parts about that show.
Did you kind of feel like, I mean, do you sometimes know when you're working on something and you're just like, man, this is gonna blow. Like this is gonna be big. Or was it
Yeah.
just kind of like, this is another gig, and then you realize, oh man, like everyone loves it. Like
I mean,
was it a shock?
I think if it's good. Whether or not people are going to like it, I don't think it's possible to know. I think you can tell when something is high quality, and you could feel there was something about that show. It was just really well written. It was so quirky. It had good characters. Whether people like it or not, I don't think there's any way to really know that. But yeah, you can't. You can tell when you're working on something and that's when it's really fun and satisfying. Is when you're working on something that has quality to it. That has good writing and good directing and good cast, and it's producers are behind it, and that you can feel. Whether people like it, who the heck knows, man. I mean, people like the LA Lakers. I don't understand that either.
Hey, facts. I don't get it either.
Well,
I
listen,
think they're all bandwagon
it's
fans.
the same thing as all the people that like
Lakers,
the
Cowboys,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll say
uh,
Cowboys is the
New
worst.
England Patriots.
No,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
no New
And
England Patriots leave
as a
them alone.
Canadian, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, I argue with my friends because I grew up in Canada, so I'm a last Canadian team standing guy. I'll go even for the Leafs if I have to, but I have friends who will refuse to go for the Leafs or the Canadians. So
Oh man.
there's no accounting for taste. So
I I would tell you the one role this is probably the most recent one of your more recent roles. My favorite role of yours is Sheriff Walter Tubbs in Big Sky.
oh, that was a
I
fun job. That was a fun job. Thank you.
Oh, no
Yeah.
problem. I really enjoyed that show. Like I was like really shocked because it was like I remember watching it with my wife, and she's just like, she's like, Ryan Felipe's in a TV show. I was like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's all changed a lot. I mean, I think I'm a
yeah,
little older than you guys, but there were TV actors and film actors, and they were two separate things. And I think it's great for the industry now that actors are just actors. So you
Yeah, that
get
is
some
accurate.
really incredible quality on television now, and I think that's where a lot of people are going. I was surprised to get that job because I was not right for it, according to the breakdowns, which are the descriptions of the characters. But I learned a long time ago to not worry about what the breakdowns say. You just go and try to find some truth, and
Mm-hmm.
if they see something they like, they'll hire you, and that's so little to do with talent. I mean, everybody I know that I audition against or audition with for the roles are all talented. Talent has nothing to do with it. You're either right for the role or you're not. And once you realize that, it's kind of freeing. You're not worried about whether you're good. You're just trying to show your interpretation of that character. But they like something about it, which was nice. Ironically, that show was written on based on a series of books written by C.J. Box. And just as we were finishing that in Vancouver, he had another series of books called Joe Pickett. And I auditioned for another sheriff, and I thought, there's no way. And then they gave me that job. So you should watch Joe Pickett on Paramount Plus, where I play another small town sheriff called Bud Barnum. That season 2 comes out June 4th. So I'm sort of a tub with an attitude on that show.
I'm definitely going to go check that out now.
Yeah, I don't know when I became small town American sheriff, but I'll take it.
Hey, sometimes you get your stick and you just keep going with it.
Right,
that's how I found out about, because same thing like Slow Mo, Big Sky. Like my wife, she just watches just random shows on TV, and I'm like, what are you watching? And then I was watching that she was just watching Big Sky one time, and it was like 4 episodes in, and I'm like, you're just sitting there watching, like I'm just trying to, spend time. And I was like, I'm just spending time with you. That's all I'm doing. Yeah. And the next thing I know, 5 hours goes by. We done watch 5 episodes or 6, and then I done watched the whole season with her, and then all the episodes that's been out. And then next thing I know, this conversation started with you coming on, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna have Patrick Gallagher on. He does one of the voices that goes to Shima, and he's in Big Sky. My wife was like, who? And she started looking at ID. She starts looking at the website and looks at that. She's like, oh, that's so cool and stuff. So I was like, yeah, it's like life is imitating art and stuff like that, because I never thought I would ever see a situation like, something that I saw on TV and actually be interacting with that person in this environment. So that's really cool when that stuff types to happen.
Yeah, that is cool, and I'm glad you liked it.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I see some people in the chat saying that he said Phil in the chat says, dang, all of our wives got us on that. So it's just
I'm telling you
how that all played out. Now I remember you telling us that you're not much of a gamer, like you don't really play games like that, right?
No, the last one. I should just say you should check out Joe Pickett if you like Yellowstone. Check out Joe Pickett on Paramount Plus, because it's a bit like sort of a combination of Yellowstone and Big Sky. It's got a little more grit to it, and we're really proud of that show. So that comes out. That's on Paramount Plus. Yeah, the last video game I played was, I think it was a PlayStation 1. It was that skeleton that used to walk through and and jump over bridges and kill skeletons, whatever the hell that game was. That was the last one I played. I played a little bit of Wii. I like those kind of games. I just didn't understand the first-person shooter stuff.
How long did you actually play your Wii? You bought it and it just sat there after 2 weeks.
I played the Wii Sports all the time, so I'm debating whether or not because the Wii's broken now, so I'm debating whether or not to get the Switch. Let me put it to you this way: if I played Ghost of Tsushima, I would never get off that beach. I would still be losing that fight. I just don't understand it. So,
but that's the tutorial level. Look, I think you would eventually get off that beach. I think you eventually get off that beach. Although I think that matter of fact, let's just kind of switch to that, because I think in that game, your introduction and then that kind of standoff duel that didn't turn out to be a duel at all, like that was such an awesome like introduction to the character, because it set the tone for what to expect from your character, as well as like the kind of theme that Jen had to kind of deal with, like do I need to, am I going to operate by honor or survival? Like, what's more important to me? Because clearly nobody was expecting how that turned out, right? It was so. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
What do you mean, setting the guy on fire?
Yeah. I kind of didn't want to say it for those who didn't play it, but yeah, set the guy on fire. That was great.
He looked cold to me. That's all. I just was trying to do him a favor. His name was Adachi, so we used to joke that he's the Adachi Hibachi. We were going to try to make one,
but oh no, go ahead.
Well, I just actually went to a Memorial Day. Fade or Chin, I went to his Memorial Day thing, and we laughed because I think I set him on fire 3 times in that game. He played the other guys getting burnt too, so he's pretty good at playing a guy on fire.
Oh man.
How did you get that role? Like, and how did you prepare for it too?
Yeah, it's a good
Well,
one.
to be honest with you, that was like way back in 2017, and I saw the breakdown. I thought, you know what, I got a pretty good chance at this because I'm not Japanese, so I couldn't have played one with Japanese, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
ethnic enough with the Mongol stuff, and I knew that I could play that kind of a character, so I went into the audition fairly confident. I just went into the room with cast director and the director and did it. And I felt pretty good. Then they just wanted to do a little bit of stuff to see me sort of move a little bit, because I might have to fight. So I did some falling and everything. It was great. On the last one, I was supposed to react to a punch. I felt like I pulled my hamstring. I'm like, oh, son of a, oh no. And all I thought was like, don't limp until you get out the door. Don't limp until you get out the door.
Oh
So I
man.
pulled my hamstring. I pulled my hamstring at the audition, but it didn't actually heal for about a year. But it was just an audition. I
Wow.
think I read. I think I read one of the scenes, and then it was so great too because they were great to collaborate with. The
Yeah.
writing was great. That whole scene that became the trailer, we just did that. They just sort of came up with that scene that day, and they decided to make that the trailer. And it was a lot of collaboration. Motion capture, performance capture is a very different animal for actors, and it takes. Luckily, I'd done it a couple times beforehand to know what to expect, but it's not voice acting by itself, but it's not like regular acting. It's sort of this weird combination where your body matters, how you speak matters, and I had to always remind myself that I've got 40 pounds of armor, so I would just go back to what it felt like wearing actually 40 pounds of armor as Attila the Hun. Because you're
Hmm.
walking in a skin tight suit that doesn't weigh anything, and I kept reminding myself I've got to walk like I've got this armor on. You have to imagine everything. And it's hard to. It took a little while to sort of figure out the sort of intimate acting stuff because you've got
Hmm.
these cameras that are 6 inches in front of your face,
Right.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and so you can't. So you got to figure out the styling of it. But once you figure it out, it's a really interesting job to have. I really enjoy it. Except nobody should have to see me in a skin tight suit, but
So what do you?
So
So what
what?
do
What?
you? No, I
Okay.
was gonna say. So when it comes to just the in the booth voice acting versus in the skin tight suit, how much of that did you do? Like, what would you think the breakdown of you actually just lending your voice to the character than you actually being in that suit in that mocap environment? What do you think the breakdown of something like that, and what is the challenges of something, um, of just transitioning from the booth into the actual environment of mocap.
Well, I mean, in the booth, you've got to get all the emotion. I mean, I just finished a couple little animation jobs, and it's difficult because you can't really. You find yourself getting into positions with your body that help you with the voice. If you're getting ready to fight, you sort of tense yourself up, and if you need to laugh, you loosen your body. But it's just your voice. You've got to try to sort of create the emotion with just your voice. It's easier
Yeah.
for me as an actor when you've got the body there as well because all the emotions come from inside. We used to do these breathing exercises where we would like breathe and we'd sort of tap just above our groin and breathe in there because that's where all our emotions are trapped. That's what we were taught. Not literally, but so
Mm-hmm.
much of human emotion is about gender and sexuality, and the tension will be in the shoulders. So we breathe in to try to release the emotions, and you use your body to help do that. So I would stand in a very particular way as Khotun, and that would help me get into it. Because I slouch and I don't stand up straight. But
Hmm.
when I played him, you get the shoulders up, and it's just about power for him, and that will be in your body. And you're not really thinking about it as much. When I'm doing voice acting, I'm sort of thinking about it a little bit more because you have to sort of imagine more. It's a
Hmm.
little bit more natural for me when you can stand up and do it and just kind of incorporate your body with it. So that's sort of the difference for me.
Yeah. When you do voice acting though, you still get like a director kind of directing it, right? He's still like trying to help you, I guess, get into the headspace of the character and what's happening in the moment, so you can kind of like accurately portray the voice, right? Like you still get that stuff,
Yeah, I
even if
find
you're in the booth.
I find that they put in more actually because it's just the voice. It's a more specific. I find maybe maybe I'm not great at voice acting. I don't know, but I find I get more direction which I don't mind because they're looking for something very specific. But it's because it's all in the voice, it's so specific that I tend to find that there's more involvement with the director doing the voice as purely as opposed to, what just doing regular acting, I guess, for lack of a better term. But what I like to do when I do voice acting is, if there's something that can be done 4 different ways, I'll just say, just let it go for 10 seconds and I'll just do 15 versions of it. Get a line where you're angry, or you're scared, where you're feeling more empathetic, and just get all those versions out and they can choose it. But I think, when you're doing voice acting, you have more time to sort of say, here's 15 versions of this line, 15 ways to do it, or 10 ways to do it. You don't have quite as much time on film sets. And sort of, you have, and it's sort of, to me, sort of down the middle with time on performance capture. So, but it was very different doing, because a lot of the voice acting was just the grunts and the fights and, the voices in the fighting, and you're actually not moving. So you've got to try to go, you're going to die, and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Oh man, that's great. So another question I have, because it's just super fascinating, is just hearing stuff like this. When it comes to your time, like, we know that this game, development, started around 2016. You said you got involved around 2017. Game released in 2020. What do you think your involvement? How much time do you think you actually spent working on the game?
I did about 9 days over 2.5 years. So I think I did like 4 days fairly quickly, and then they would do other characters, and then, I think the story changes, and then Billy, who was a story editor, and Nate, who was director, I think would come up with ideas. And so I think I would have I had a gap of 7 months once. So I come in for 4 days, come in for 2 days. I mean, other people were there more than I was, but I think my total time there of performance capture was probably 7 or 8 days, and then maybe 4 days of voice. I actually lost, if you notice, I actually lost about 20 to 25 pounds, because it was shot in the sequence that the game is sort of how we shot it. And when you do performance capture with it, when it's your face, they've got to put a lot of dots, like hundreds of dots in very specific areas in your face. So they had to make us these masks where they drilled the holes in so that they could get the dots in the same spot. And it had been so much time that I came back about 20 to 25 pounds lighter, and this mask almost didn't fit. And they're like, dude, you can't lose any more weight. Otherwise, let's go make another mask for you. So there was a lot of time, I think. But more,
I've always found that fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but just because, like, when someone is in a role and let's say the role needs someone who's a little bit bigger or whatever, and then like maybe a person starts losing weight, they go on a diet or whatever, it's just like, hey, we don't need you to do that. It's just, it always seems weird to me when it comes to acting.
Yeah, or they might have been working on another project where they lost a lot of weight during that project. Like you said, since it seems like there's some gaps involved, especially if you're not like one of the main characters that's always being, called to be able to do something, time does pass and stuff like that happens.
Yeah, and it depends on how much time passes in the world of the story. So if you finish one season, at 250, and then the next season starts 3 days later and you're 200, they're gonna be like, how'd you lose 50 pounds in 3 days? I mean, but it just happens, because before I got Big Sky, I somehow managed to lose 40. I think I lost 45 pounds during the pandemic. And then I got all worried that, I was 265 May 1st of 2020. And when I went and shot that, I got down to 210 or 212. And then it was so new for me. I did Noom, by the way. So if anyone needs to lose weight, that crap works. That stuff really doesn't work, by the way. But then my big concern
You did what?
I did that app Noom.
Noom?
Yeah, you'll see it advertised on TV. Where it's all psychology. I've met 7 people like me who did it as a lark and lost 40 to 50 pounds and kept it off. The stuff really works. Yeah.
I've never even heard of that, but okay.
Maybe we'll have to look into that.
Yeah. You got to get past the first month, because it doesn't feel like it's working. And a month in, I'm like, wow, because it's not a diet. You cut nothing out. It's about moderation and how you think about food and how you think about things. And I'm about a month in, I'm like, wow, this is all of a sudden become a lifestyle change. But then my big concern when I went to do Big Sky was it was so new. I'm like, I need to be able to maintain this weight for 4 months, and I wasn't sure I could do it. But luckily, I was able to. But yeah, you'll notice sometimes people's hair are different when they come back in season 2, and there was a reshoot in Night at Museum where it's a different framing, and Attila looks slightly different. When I didn't cry when we first shot it, so we actually did the crying part in the first movie 6 months later in Los Angeles. So it's slightly different, but if you don't really know that, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I hear a lot of that stuff based on not only just the order that stuff is shot in, is based on the location too. So it's like, if we have this location that we need to shoot in, we're gonna try to, even if it's the end of the movie that we're shooting that now while we're here to get it all out the way before they move to another location.
Yeah, and then you get an idea, and you're like, "Oh man, we got to come back." And so you'll try to, because they thought, well, he should actually break down and cry all the way down, and we hadn't shot that, so we just sort of set it up in Los Angeles 5 months later, and I actually broke down and cried in that scene at the end of Night at Museums. So I don't know, man. I just show up, stand where they tell me to stand, and talk when they tell me to talk.
I know that's right.
Hey, in working with Sucker Punch and Ghost, did you ever get the opportunity to kind of like ad lib things, add dialogue here and there?
Yeah, a lot of it. Like, Nate Foss was director and Billy was the story editor, and that's why it was such a great collaboration, because they were really open to ideas. So we could come up with ideas, and I could say, "What about this?" And a lot of that, I kind of just did the character the way I wanted to, but it was great to have them there to say, "Well, what was your intention? What's going on here? How is he kind of feeling?" But that kind of thing about him, I just didn't want to play him as a sort of stereotypical evil guy. To me, it was, he just had a job to do. I don't think he was like a psychopath. I don't think he burnt people because he enjoyed it. He burnt people because it would help him achieve his goal, which was to take over the island.
Right. And I love seeing that, because like when you got that, like, sometimes it comes, especially in video games, where the main villain is like this Saturday morning cartoon kind of, arg villain, and it's just like whatever. Like it's so overdone. You kind of want to, like, I think the more the villains that people remember are the ones where they can kind of understand and empathize with their cause, why they're doing what they're doing, and it's not just the typical, hey, I'm just trying to rule the world, I'm just trying to destroy the world. Why? Like, why are you doing that? No, it's just like, hey, I got a goal here. I'm here to take over the island. That's it.
And it was great because they had great writing. I think they kind of wrote a little bit to me playing it that way, and then they wrote me great stuff. Like, one of my favorite scenes is I don't know if I'm assuming people played this game, but the scene where I cut Taka's head off. That whole thing about, when I was talking to Jin saying, we live in the shadow of our ancestors, we could be better. That was real in my mind. That wasn't a tactic. He's like, you're under the shadow of your uncle. I'm under the shadow of my damn cousin Kublai. Let's, and I think that was I was trying to play that as his angst, and they wrote this beautiful scene where I could get his kind of real insecurity, where he was really like, I should be doing more than this. You should be doing more than this. And I tried to play it as real. I also try to bring a little bit of comedy into stuff like that if you can. So yeah, it was a great part to play, and it was a real collaborative effort. And I think they would write off of what I was doing, and I would get ideas off of what they've written. And the other actors were great, working with Daisuke and Eric and everybody. We'd sort of work together and talk about things. It was a really fun project.
Yeah.
Except for the skin tight suits. No one should, I'm still
the one thing that comes from video games. Skin tight suits.
I'm still scarred by having seen myself.
So question being, being a person that does a lot of reads, you've been on both sides of it, from movies, TV shows, to video games. Video games have come a long way when it comes to their storytelling aspects, and I'm one of those people that believes that video game storytelling has kind of moved up into its apex, where we start seeing it compete with like live action movies and stuff like that when it comes to like the storytelling. being the person that's seen all of these different, ways that stories are told across these mediums, which one at this moment do you think is your favorite?
Oh, to be a part to act in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? To me it's like cake, cookies, or ice cream.
Mm.
I'll eat any of it. I really it is nice to have a variety. I've been lucky in that sense. I mean, I would have no issues doing a TV show for 3 years in a row. I mean, it does get. I don't want to. I mean, it's such a great job, so I don't want to sound like it's a first world problem. It gets a little bit boring
Oh, the
sometimes doing the
monotonous
same
of it.
thing.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, you're still getting paid well and doing something you love. But
Absolutely.
um, I mean, I like big films. I've been fortunate that I was able to do big films like Master and Commander, Night Museum, simply because of the scale of them. But I
Hmm.
kind of like them all. But it is true that they become like films. I actually put one of those scenes on my demo reel. That's how good.
Oh,
That's
I
how
watched
good.
it. I watched
That's how
that
good
demo
video. Yeah,
reel.
and I was like, I think this is. It looks like a film, and I think it's good enough to go on a demo reel, which we wouldn't have said 5 years ago. And I've actually watched on YouTube all the scenes together in chronological order. It's like watching a movie. All the scenes between Daisuke and the other characters. I mean, I sat there and watched that, and I've done that in other video games because it's like watching a movie, and I think it's great. And that's the part of the video game industry that really interests me. I
Yeah.
think we have great writers and great directors, and you're getting big actors to do it now. I just wish they would pay people better, but that's another story.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and
You
and
know,
absolutely with the way you're singing, like, cause like if you recall, like the Last of Us TV show on HBO, story almost scene for scene is a depiction of the video game,
yeah,
the very first video game,
Literally.
and I think Neil Druckmann, who wrote the majority of that game, he and one other guy, I can't remember the other guy's name, but like he was such a huge part of the HBO production. It's just you're starting to see the crossover
yeah,
between both video games and movies, TV show, but more your more traditional media. And I don't know if you ever heard of Hideo Kojima, who has made like Metal Gear Solid and a whole bunch, and he made a game called Death Stranding, and he's working with Forte, the guy's name. He was in The Walking Dead. And I can't.
Oh,
Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus.
Yes,
Yeah.
Norman Reedus. Yes, yes. And so you and just the amount of work that they had to do in that game, and
Yeah,
that, and they're also doing the sequel to that. It's just I love the narrative approach that you see a lot of the video games going towards now,
yeah,
and I love seeing so many talented people and actors and just getting into it, because it used to be, and Forte can attest to this. We would hear the same names and see the same people
Oh
doing all the
yeah.
voice acting
yeah,
and
yeah.
all the games, and it's just like, I know that guy, I know that guy, I know that woman. It's like five. It was like five of them, and they just did all
and
the
it's
work.
a and it's a
Yeah.
different type of range too, because when you start listening, it's like, man, Ashley Burke played this character, Neil, and then you'll hear Nolan North did this voice, and I'm like, it doesn't even sound like him. It's like,
No, and
wow.
those people are very, very skilled. I mean, I got a lot of
Mhm.
respect for that. Because you got to find your niche. It's so funny because ironically, my first ever job in LA that got me my healthcare the first time was in the first Last of Us.
Mm.
But I only did the motion capture. I didn't do the performance because I guess one of the characters had like an injury or something. So I was his size. So I would do all of the moving for I guess the older, bigger character. I don't remember the name of it. So that was ironically my first job. And then ironically, I think I auditioned for that Norman Reedus TV show. I didn't get it, but
Mm.
it is nice they're doing. I mean, I know they're doing a movie of Ghost of Tsushima, and hopefully they stay true to the story as well. Benedict Wong will do a fantastic job. I have no doubt because that's who I would cast as Khotun.
Mm. Yeah, that's
So
that's
You
that's
wouldn't cast yourself?
you know what?
right.
I understand this industry. You need to sell this movie. He's a fantastic actor. He's got a name to do it. I think he'd do it brilliantly. I would love to be a part of it in some way, shape, or form. I would love to do it, but I don't expect to. I understand how this industry works.
Right.
He's
Well,
a he's a
I will pull what we normally do in the video game industry, which is I want the guy that did the the job in the game for the movie, because typically, especially if it's like your face in the game, there's a huge deal. Like there was a huge deal with a lot of gamers that although she did Bella Ramsey did an amazing job playing Ellie in The Last of Us
Yeah.
TV show, but because she didn't look like the Ellie in the game, so many people were just like, no, 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 I can't see it, I can't see it. I'm telling you, when they come out with this movie, they're gonna need it. There's gonna be people asking them to call you up, absolutely, because they're
Well,
gonna be like, I need to see the guy that sold the game for me. I need to see him in the role.
I would love to, but Benedict looks a lot like me, and he played Kublai Khan in that great Marco Polo series. So he'd be fantastic. I would love a chance to do it. But also, what I would love is I think it'd be kind of cool to just play a different character that no one recognizes. That's sort of
Yeah.
my idea. Unrecognizable, and then there's a little Easter egg, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was the guy that played Khotun originally." Because I think they did that with one of the Last of Us guys, didn't they? Didn't they put someone in
Yes,
the game in a different role?
actually, they had three of them.
Yeah, a
They
couple of
had
them.
the guy that does Joel's voice.
Troy Baker, I think.
Troy Baker. Yes,
Troy
I'm
Baker,
terrible
yeah.
with names today. Troy Baker played one of the cannibals. And Ellie stabs him in the neck when they're like about to cut her up. I think it was like near the end of the season. And Ashley Johnson, who does Ellie
She played
in the
Ellie's
game,
mother.
she played Ellie's mother, yeah. And
Yeah,
then um Laura Bailey is one of the nurses
It's one of the nurses. Yep.
right.
at the
Yeah,
end. Yeah, so yeah, it was like they sprinkled them in there. So like you would definitely be down to do something like that. Just be
and
like
yeah, and I think it's great that they did that. And like you said, I would love to do it, but honestly, if it was going to be me, I think Benedict Wong's the perfect choice, and mine will always live, as the first one, which is great. I mean, I'd love a chance to do it, but
Yeah.
I understand the industry. He's a big name. He's an incredible actor. He's a very nice guy. He'd probably sell it, but I hope that if Chad Stahelski's listening and people listening, I hope that they would do something like that and give Dice K something if he can't play Jin. Put me in as someone unrecognizable as some general, with a scar that says I wouldn't do that, and it'd be nice to be a part of it. But I also understand the industry, so I'm not expecting it. I hope I would get it, at least thought about. But I'm
Well,
quite happy, being able to say that I created him. Mine will live, and whoever plays it, if it's Benedict or whoever, I don't know. That's who I would cast, to be honest with you.
well, one thing I will
You know,
say, video games have a really good chance of bringing, like you said, some of the people that played other characters back into the fold, especially when they do TV shows or movies or something. They bring them in as other characters, side characters, somebody you just see on the screen, like, hey, I see that
yeah,
guy. And
right.
it's
yeah.
like really, really cool. So you get that a lot in video game production when it goes to movies and games.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, if I did the movie, I'd have to actually fight. And I'm getting old. I mean, I played tennis 2 weeks ago. My knee still hurts. So I'm like, damn, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I mean, I'm not young anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking. I'll go see it. And hopefully, it'd be nice if some of the people are involved with what they did with the way they did with The Last of Us. I think it's a really nice touch they did.
Yeah,
So
definitely one of the best shows this year. So, you mentioned it, and just like you don't have to answer it 100. You don't have to answer it 100%. But um, video games that are on the future, are you working? I mean, you don't got to give any names or anything, but is there anything coming out in like the near future that you might be working on in a video game?
no, I haven't. It's. I mean, I haven't really been able to. I've been doing Joe Pickett and Big Sky for a
Yep.
while, so I was busy, luckily. But I've gone for a couple, but haven't gotten them. I'm trying to get into conventions, but I'm having a hard time figuring out how to do that. I don't know if people would want to come and see Khotun, but I've had a couple agents say that
Oh, you'd be
they're not sure we can
surprised.
sell anything. So, but no, I mean, I've just got Joe Pickett coming out on June 4th, and
Okay.
the writer's strike is on now, so everything's kind of shut down. So I think
Right.
we're just kind of just hunkering down. I've luckily got Canada, so I activated the Canadian people. Try to get some jobs up there.
Oh
Although
man,
my Canadian agent has been my agent for years, so he's always been helping down here. But that's really all that's going on right now. But I've gone for a couple of video games that haven't been able to hit any of them yet. I think I did. I was in one. I am on. What's the dragon one?
Right.
I did Guild Wars.
Oh,
I did
Guild
one
Wars. Yeah, I did see that in
okay,
the
Guild Wars,
yeah, see
yeah.
did a Guild Wars one.
I did some Guild Wars. What else did I do? I did one after that. What's it called? Hold on. Let's look at my IMDb because I can't remember any of these
Man,
names.
that's a long list. You've been working.
There was one I did. What did I just do? It came out, I think, 3 months ago.
3 months ago. That would have been
Rainbow Six. No, not Rainbow Six. What the heck was it?
This man's so busy he don't even remember.
He don't
which
remember
one
the
he did.
games he was in.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't do a lot. Hold on a second. What one did I just do?
You remember what your line in Halo Reach was as a trooper?
Probably like, get down. There's one in Company of Heroes, which was one of my first ones I did in 2006, where I was not a big George Bush fan. And there's apparently a line in there where I said, Bush is down, just leave him. Just leave him. And they kept it in the game, apparently.
Oh, they said someone gonna have a good time with this one.
So that was what's not Guild Wars. Oh, it was what the heck's it called? I played Lee in something. What the heck was this game called? It's not on IMDb. I got to get it put on there. I don't understand games.
And the game came out 3 months ago?
Yeah, 3 or 4 months ago.
So 3 or 4 months ago, that's like February, March time period?
Or 6 months ago, maybe.
Oh, 6. Forspoken? No.
No. Let me see what it was. It had codename Rocket. All I can see is the code name.
Now I'm about to, now my mind is going. Now I'm looking it up.
It didn't get on a. Oh God! It was a big franchise, and I was some special forces guy from Singapore.
Codename Rocket. Was it do you remember the developer that was making the game?
No, I should have done more research and been more prepared for this.
Oh no, it's fine.
It was a fun job, but I can't remember what it was called. It was some military thing. Honestly, I thought it would be.
Was it Was it Wildlands? Ghost Recon Wildlands?
No, it wasn't a Ghost Recon. It was another. What's another one of the franchises?
Okay, so Rainbows. There's Rainbow Six. You say Rainbow Six before.
I think it was Rainbow Six.
Oh, was it Extraction? But no, that came out last year.
No, not Rainbow Six, not Siege. Yeah, Rainbow Six was that. God, what the heck was that? I can't even remember now. I'm looking on my emails to see if I can get the name of it because it had a code name, and I can't remember the name of what the show was. I shouldn't be talking out loud like this so much.
No, you did. But no, it's fine. It's
so
no
you
worries.
got. It says you did Company Heroes. You did Halo Reach, Red Dead Redemption, Ghost Recon. Was it Breakpoint? It wasn't Breakpoint.
That was where I played
Mad Schultz.
Mad Schultz. That was a fun gig as well. Let me see.
But yeah, he said it wasn't on IMDb, so you wouldn't be able to see it there.
Well, I was looking at this man's extensive Wikipedia page.
yeah, it didn't get on. It's funny because all the emails just have the code name Rocket, and I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, Rocket. That's interesting.
Well, while you're looking at that, I did have a question because you mentioned the writer's strike and how that's kind of like holding everything up. What normally is like, for us laymen that don't really know the ins and outs of these things, what is like the breakdown of that? Like, because we see that like we'll see a movie or a TV show is doing great, and the actors or like the big name actors may get paid, like especially if a show blows up like Friends or something, like everyone's getting paid big money. But I guess the writers just aren't getting a cut in that. They're not getting a certain percentage.
streaming has changed everything. I mean, our residuals have gone down, since the merger between the two unions. Streaming has changed everything because I used to, when I was younger, it would be rerun, and there was a structure for reruns on network.
Mm-hmm.
And then that all just kind of changed once you get to streaming, because we had, I think it was under the old, it was under the old
The old structure.
new media deal, and so I
Okay.
guess, and then they're shorter. It's not 22 episodes. They don't have what people that are in writers' rooms for 22 episodes getting paid weekly as they should. So I think a lot of it is just, where's the money for the streamers? There's a lot of money in there, and how much do they have, and are they paying the writers properly? Because without writers, we're just standing around talking.
Right.
We're just moving. Rainbow Six Siege, yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, okay. All right. So it was
The
Siege. Yeah,
newest, the
that makes
Rainbow
sense.
Six.
So it was
Siege.
Extraction, yeah.
No.
Oh no,
Extraction is
they had a
a
new
different
update to it.
game. Siege is like an ongoing live service game. So it's like,
Yeah.
even though Siege came out like
Oh, it's got
almost a decade
the new
ago.
season. Yeah, it's a new
Yeah,
season.
when they got new seasonal content, then like
Yeah.
I didn't know they were doing like more like narrative focused voice stuff, because I haven't played Siege in forever.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
and what are those games called when they're like Guild Wars? There's the phrase for them, right? Where they're on all the time. They carry on.
MMO.
Yeah, there's some kind
Yeah.
of acronym.
Oh,
Yeah,
games as a
that's what it was.
service.
Yeah, that it was. Yeah. So, but yeah, back to the strike. I mean, I just think it comes down to, where, and it's hard to figure out where the money is. I think is what the big thing is for the writers and for the actors. I think we might have to go too, because I guess you could figure out, if it's on television and it reruns again, there was a structure and you get paid again and again. But, where does it go if it's on Netflix? How much money are they actually making? It's really hard to figure out what the profits are. So I think that's the crux of what the labor issues are right now for the writers, and it will probably be for the actors as well. We just want our fair share of it. I think another thing that scares people is the AI. I mean,
oh yeah, that's
crazy.
They're getting. Yeah, and it's weird. You watch those YouTube commercials. I was watching one where they were talking about some fancy like swamp cooler, and it was an AI voiceover, because it's almost good enough, but you could tell the inflections weren't quite right, but it sounded almost normal, except they had a weird inflection. And I'm like, that's AI, and that's what's really scary. So I think the actors are going to be going, listen, when I'm dead, they'll be able to just get our faces, get our voices, and put us on screen. Now, are we going to get paid for that? I mean, you've heard about that new scam, which scares the crap out of me, where if they hear 3 or 4 minutes of voice, and I guess it's a scam, they've been getting people calling up saying, "Hey, Grandma, I need money," and people are buying it.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah,
And
I've
so,
also seen where there's like people are creating music using other artists' voices, or
yep.
like singing or rapping. Like there was a Jay-Z song I heard, and
Oh
it
yeah,
wasn't
same.
Jay-Z. It was just some other dude's lyrics, but Jay-Z's voice rapping it, and I was just like,
it was crazy
what?
listening to that too. I was like, I swear that's Jay-Z, and I know
This
they tell
stuff's
you it's
gotta get
fake.
reined in. Yeah, it's gotta get reined in. Something's gotta happen, because like, I mean, that's your livelihood. That's your voice. That's your face. That's
Yeah.
and for someone to just be able to, like, say, just take it and then use an algorithm, use software to then profit off of it with giving you nothing. Like, no, that
or,
has to get.
or or not even enough. And I think you're right, because it's gonna be all entertainment. It's gonna be radio. It's gonna be lots of industries where AI, as it gets more advanced. I mean, are they gonna need actors or writers in 30 years? Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's kind of. I mean, it's kind of cool, because you can see sort of the Peter Cushing character in the Star Wars come back. And so my first thought, that's kind of cool. My second thought was, that's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be able to just sort of listen to 20 minutes of what I've done, or an hour of what I've done, and somehow cobble together a completely AI character that looks like me acting, that has inflections and choices made, and are they going to be able to do that with big famous actors? Are they going to be able to just write stuff with AI? And that, I think, is something that needs to be looked at early by everybody, And I mean, we also all saw Terminator. It has much bigger implications for all of us too. That what was it
Yeah.
called? Skynet.
Yes.
I mean,
Cybernet.
Cybernet. But I mean,
Yeah.
are we going to be able to tell if they have a video of some politician killing someone? How are we going to tell if it's real or not?
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean, I heard this thing they made about Obama where he was saying terrible things. It was his freaking voice. And they just made this conversation. I'm like, that's really scary for all of us, not just in the entertainment industry, but just in society as to what that's going to do. So I think it's something that society's got to start to look at.
I definitely agree. It's I've even seen on the video game side of things. I've seen artists who work at video game companies talking about how they're afraid that AI is going to replace them in
Yes.
regard to the work they do in video games. Which on one side of it, as a gamer, I'm like, because I'm seeing the benefits to it is that video games get made faster, which is if it's done accurately and good and it's faster, well, good for us gamers. But then on the other side of it is like, but there are like the way AI works is that they're training these AI algorithms off of the work of actual human beings who are still
Yep.
aren't being, getting credited for the work that they're doing, and then it's putting them out of business, out of actual work. So it's just it's a very interesting time, but it's I can see how like it's like the technology is fascinating, but then it's also terrifying
Yeah, and
how
it's fun.
it can be used. Yeah.
And it's funny too, because going back to how you work in video games, I think that I think at first as hard factors realize that those are the people that are really important, the ones that are creating the game when you're in there, because you're in a big room and there's all the people at computers that are, I guess, it's writing the code or I mean those are the people that are making the games. We're kind of like adjunct to it, which is different than when you're shooting a film and television.
Hmm.
We're sort of the top dog and the most important part of it, but we're not that when you're doing a video game. You're just like another member of the team, and I think it's hard for some actors to understand that. But those are the people that are going to lose their jobs as well, the ones that are doing whatever it is they're doing behind those computers.
Right.
And it's kind of scary. And there's some things that should be made by hand and some things that should be made by computer. One thing that shouldn't be handmade, I don't know why they advertise handmade pants. I don't want those handmade because that's when you get some pants that aren't hemmed properly. I want those made by machines.
Right.
Like I'm like
I
I'm going.
definitely
I
want
don't
a
want.
machine doing
I
that.
don't want the Levi's to be handmade because they're going to be mistakes. Like some things should not be made. That's not a selling point. I want stuff like that to be made by a machine so it's all precise.
Yep. And if
But
you
I
need
want
something
it.
special, you go to a tailor.
Yeah, and I
Right.
want a
Right.
chair that's made by a human being because that's a little bit different. I want a story that's written by a human being. That's where it means.
Yeah.
You
It
know.
it is it is pretty crazy. I have a bunch of friends. They just send me random messages from AI generated chatbots, and they'll just tell me
Yeah.
like whole stories and stuff. I said, "Oh, this is pretty good." Then he said, "Yeah, I wrote that all on AI." I was like, He said, "Yeah, literally, it only took me like 15 minutes to write that whole story."
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty. I mean, it's like I said. It's like so much in human history. It's fascinating and exciting, but it's also kind of scary.
Yep.
They're gonna be driving our cars. They're gonna be doing all kinds of stuff for us, which can have huge benefits for all of us. But also, what's that going to do to our society? So I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah,
So
we definitely don't want to hold you too long, Patrick. I know it's it's getting a little late in the night, but I did want to hit the super. There was a super chat from my good friend Ramon Terrell, the $5 Canadian. I appreciate you, Ramon. Said
hey,
uh,
Ramon.
going to be an awesome show. Let's go. That was from a little while ago.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Knowing
Ramon. I
him, he probably
didn't
fell
get to that
asleep
tonight.
somewhere.
No,
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 I'm
not
just
Ramon.
talking. Speaking of which, how did you come across Ramon for the first time?
Oh God, I think we just crossed paths in Vancouver, probably in an audition. I don't remember specifically, but we probably just Vancouver is a pretty small town for at least when I was there for actors. Not a lot of us, so everybody knows everybody. I think it was that.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. I'm just watching Nuggets kicking Miami's butt. And there's my neighbor's dog that's driving me crazy. I don't know if you can hear that. That's my door closed.
Oh man, yeah, I make it hear it a little bit, but that's crazy. Like you just do it, man.
Yeah, I get in
You can do
arguments with
that
them.
all night.
Yeah, and it's sort of all day, and it's frantic because I never walk them, and I get in arguments with them. Like that dog is stressed. You can't just leave it out in the backyard and expect it to not get stressed. You got to take it
Man.
for a walk, and then dogs aren't that hard. You just need to be firm with them, and they figure it out. It drives me
Right.
crazy. I hate being that old man neighbor. Shut your dog up, but I can't help
Hey
it.
man, some people's dogs got separation issues.
It's also hard too because I'll be trying to do a voiceover audition or audition, put a tape audition. All I hear is like in the background. I mean, they're home. They're home. You can still hear that dog. They're home, and just come out and say, "Hey," and let that dog know that it's not a good thing to bark. But they don't ever do that. But I'm digressing.
It's awesome.
Oh, no worries,
So,
man. But Patrick, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and I'm definitely going to check out the new show that you're on Paramount
yeah,
Plus. I'm checking that
go
out.
pick it. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure I think a lot of the chat has been a big fan of your work too. So I'm pretty sure they're going to check that out as well. Where, as far as anyone wants to get in contact with you on social media, where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter as Patrick at Patrick G Man. I lost my verification, and I'm not paying $8 for it. So I think I only have about 4,000 fans on there. It's just a lot of. It used to be a lot of anti-Trump stuff, so that's how you know it's me. And then I'm on Instagram. I don't have a lot of traction there either, but I am Patrick Gallagher. I came into social media late and I don't quite get it. So those are probably the two best places to
Guess what? It's a good
follow
thing
me.
that you probably don't get it. It's something.
Yeah, my niece thinks it's hilarious that I don't even have one.
Yeah.
One TikTok, and she's got 5 TikTok channels, which I don't quite get. But
5?
yeah,
Oh
5.
man.
One public, one for just these certain friends at school, one just for a theater group, then one just for like 4 other friends, and then one where she's not her or something like that. I'm like, okay,
Oh, she got a burner account.
yeah, burners,
She
got
got like
burners,
she
yeah,
got like 4
yeah.
burners.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's so funny because she's 13 now, and I said I'll see you in 5 years, because I'm no longer cool. I'm no longer. I don't think she realizes how cool I'm. Like, I'm sort of a big deal, Maxine. She's like, no, no. So
Yeah.
I went up there for a visit, and she didn't get a chance to see me. My sister was really upset. I said, that's how it should be, man. She's 13. Of course, she should hang out with her friends, not her uncle. That's how it's supposed to be.
True.
All is right with the world. So, but yeah, that's where you can find me. I might go back on Facebook. I took a break, but right now I am Patrick Gallagher on Instagram and at Patrick G Man on Twitter. And you can tell it's me if you want to find out the real me. It's a picture of the Earth is my background picture, and it's about 4,300 people, I think.
Yep, I have it linked in the description for everybody. So
yeah,
just click it.
That's it.
Yep, go into the description, click it, and you take you straight to them. And like Somo said, we really appreciate you coming on, spending this time with us. It's been a very, very enlightening conversation on everything going on in the voice acting industry. A lot of stuff, a lot of parallels happening, and we wish you the best of luck in everything that you do in the future. And definitely we'll be checking out that show on Paramount Plus because I'm struggling finding anything to watch on there right now because everything I usually watch is over. So
yeah, same with me. Well, thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, like I was saying, I lost my 3 favorite shows in the span of a week. So
yeah,
so try that one out. If anybody knows
find
anything
else to watch as well, let me know because I'm losing all my shows as well. So
Carnival Row is surprisingly good.
Carnival Row.
Carnival Row on Prime Video. Orlando Bloom. It was sort of sci-fi that I really enjoyed.
Awesome.
And Shrinking is fantastic. It's written by by Brett Goldstein, who played Ray on Ted Lasso. He wrote a show called Shrinking with Harrison Ford. It's fantastic. It's got that same kind of heart and feel that Ted Lasso had of just human niceness and empathy. And I ended up watching that all without stopping. I started
Oh,
watching at
nice,
4 o'clock, thinking I would do 3 of them, watch 10 episodes without stopping. So
nice.
Shrinking on Apple TV Plus is my new favorite show.
All right, I
Nice.
got them written down. Those are next on the docket.
Yeah, and Carnival Row is pretty good. It's nice, just sort of nice sci-fi entertainment. So it's more fantasy than sci-fi, but I really enjoyed that as well. And then of course House of Dragons is great.
Oh,
yeah.
House of Dragons
House
is
of
freaking
Dragons
amazing.
is freaking amazing.
Oh, it's
Have
incredible.
you read the books?
Yeah, I read those. I read those in '98 before anybody else. So I didn't watch Game of Thrones until the lockdown because I didn't want to wreck the amazing books.
Did you?
So I didn't.
Did you watch the whole thing all the way through?
Yeah, I don't know what it's true. The first 4 seasons were fantastic. It was pretty close to the books. I don't know what the hell that last season was.
Oh, they ran out of ideas.
Well, no,
Yeah.
they didn't run. They ran. George R. Martin didn't finish the series.
Yeah,
so
she
they
didn't
ran out
fit.
of
They said
material.
you
Yeah.
can definitely tell when the source material was all empty, and they said, "Well, we gotta wing this."
Yeah, don't even get me started. I mean, it's like, yeah. But what I like about House of Dragon is they're not beholden to anything, and so they've gone back to the quality.
Right.
There was just
don't get me started on the Rings of Power either.
oh well, no. So there's just a lot of and oh my God, you just bringing up like horror stories. Like, me and my wife watching the last season of Game of Thrones and just screaming at the screen the whole time because I'm up here listening. Just so much politics going. HBO wanted to do an extra 2 seasons, but the brothers wanted to. They were in line to do the Star Wars movie, so they were trying to hurry up and get out of doing the Game of Thrones stuff. So they said, okay, we'll do another season. We'll do a condensed season, but we're not going to go because they wanted to go 10. And you could definitely tell that the
They were
last
just getting out of
season.
there.
You could definitely tell it was like warp speed, like the battle,
Yep.
the battle at Winterfell. That would have been a season by itself under old Game of Thrones. It happened in 2 episodes.
Yeah, and then and then I couldn't understand they were on the island and how did that dragon get up there so fast?
Oh yeah, the dragon got to the north like in 2 hours.
In
2 hours, and that kind of
it's a
stuff.
Gulf Stream.
Drives me crazy in movies. Like, do you ever watch The Martian?
I have loved
Yes,
it. One of the
Great movie.
one of the greatest movies I've seen for space exploration.
Yes, but then I watched it again the other day for the 4th time, and it sort of dawned on me: if the wind's strong enough to tip this 4-ton spaceship over, how are they walking to it?
Oh man, sometimes you gotta disbelieve.
And that you do, but you need some logic within it. Like that kind of stuff drives me crazy. And do you ever watch Solo?
I did.
Okay.
I feel like it got a bad rap due to what happened with episode what was it, 7? It came out after episode 7, and I think Solo got a bad. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't as bad as people say it is.
But it had one of my pet peeves, which is I'll suspend my disbelief, but things have to make logical sense. Here's what drives me crazy. Remember when he was getting that stuff out of the most powerful thing in the universe, and he got it out of that prison riot?
Uh-huh.
And he was pushing it on a cart. Remember that?
I remember.
And then he comes out to the Millennium Falcon. There's a firefight. Remember that?
I do.
And he picks them up one at a time and takes them to the ramp. You got a freaking cart.
He got cars.
Just push them all
Just
up there
push
and
'em.
go.
I did. That's what, and that's the funny thing about shows and movies, especially like older movies. Like me and my wife like to go watch a lot of older films, and you start looking at it, it's like, what were they thinking? It's like,
yeah, and as an actor, I would have been fired because I'm like, why don't I just push it up the ramp? It makes sense. I mean, the character's got to get the hell out of there. I'm like, what the hell? What's that?
And as a viewer, it's like once you realize it, it's like you can't like unsee it. It just sticks with you, and you just go like, why did they do that? Like no matter how many times you try to ignore it, like, all right, that was just one thing. It's just like you always go back to it. Sometimes I will watch a TV show or a movie, and I will see like a prop error, or like there is a like it'll be like an error of the sequence of things. Clearly they did the scenes out of order, or they stopped, they had a stoppage, came back, and it's like, but you're watching it and you're seeing a character's clothing changing like with each cut, and you're just like, oh wait a minute, That's
Yeah,
not right.
that's not
You know,
right.
and you're
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, I can't unsee it. And it's just like it just sticks with your mind. It's crazy how that works.
And that logical human stuff just drives me crazy. Like, in the Star Wars, you're trying to tell me that's the first time Han Solo ever noticed Chewie's gun? Really? You know? He just
No.
happened to be flying over in all of the vastness of space and saw that. And you're going to give 3PO red arm and not tell me why? That kind of stuff just drives me
That's
crazy.
true. They never did explain the red arm.
Yeah.
They
And what
never
I
did.
liked about The Martian is I had to watch it 4 times before that occurred to me. That's why I love stuff like The Matrix, where it took me 7 watchings before I started seeing things like this. But if I see it early on in a movie, I'm done.
So you know
You
what?
know.
You open. I'll ask you one more thing because you opened up Pandora's box for me, especially with movie watching. When it comes to movies, I have this thing about certain movies. Once I watch them in a movie theater, and I like watch them in IMAX or something like that. And then when you come home and you buy it on DVD, the experience
Yeah.
is not the. What is that one movie for you that you watched in that experience and you said it just doesn't? It's like you'll never get that translation back to like cinema at your own house.
Well, ironically, it's one of the ones I was in, Master and Commander. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. To see
Yeah,
that
yeah, I have,
Yeah.
yeah.
to see that on a movie theater is when it's in its true glory, because the cinematography in that and the sound and the scale of that, you can never, ever, ever really get that at home.
Mm.
Um, and there are some that are exactly opposite in some ways too, because I love Everything All at Once or whatever that was called. That
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Every everywhere,
everything all at once.
yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
in one, yeah,
loved
yeah.
it. I loved it in the theater, but when I watched it at home, I could watch it in a different way, and I understood it even more and liked it even more. But you got the Marvel movies. I'm a big Marvel fan. I mean, those things are
Oh,
the
you can
few
watch those
movies.
things however you want to watch them at this
Yeah,
point.
but in a movie theater, they're different.
Oh, they
You
are.
know, you know.
Well, I think the thing with the Marvel movies, especially when you get to like the Avenger ones or Endgame and Infinity War, it was
Yeah.
more of the experience. Like I remember every sound I heard from the theater
Yes.
when Mjolnir came to Captain America, he said
Yeah,
assemble.
the pop,
I
the entire
remember
theater just
everything.
explodes. Yeah,
The whole theater
yeah.
exploded because it's like
Yep.
that like-minded individual. It's like you're in a movie theater with people that are just like you.
Absolutely, and that's it. It's also sometimes not just what they put on the screen, but it is that community feeling. I mean, I remember seeing in Endgame, and people started crying when he
Facts.
died, and nobody laughed because you know what? We're all feeling that. We just don't have the guts to bawl like you do, and that was that communal feeling. And
Yeah.
I think movies like the Marvel movies, you're exactly right. You're all there together.
Yeah, it
Speaking
was
of
the
that,
same.
Guardian,
It was the same way with Infinity War when they
yeah,
all started to disappear, especially
yeah,
when Spider-Man disappeared. Like there was this little kid, I was seeing it. There was this little kid and his father beside to the right of me. And this little boy, I mean, he was there with like a Spider-Man outfit on. And I'm just
yeah.
thinking like, oh my,
my
this
my
kid is about to
listen,
die over here.
my
And his
aunt.
Yeah.
face was just like broken. It was just that moment. And I think when the movie ended and everyone's just getting up to leave, how dead silent it was because like Infinity War is probably I think Winter Soldier is my favorite. But Infinity War is like my second favorite
That
because
was a gut punch, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
because they
it was.
lost. And
Yeah, they lost.
it wasn't expected. Everyone who didn't know the story walked out of there, walked into the theater thinking, they're gonna figure it out in the end. Thanos will lose, rah rah, the heroes win. And they walked out like, what's happening here? Like, and
Yeah,
I love subverting when they subvert expectations. I love it.
yeah, and those are the movies that I think that are great in the movie theaters. Those communal experiences are the ones I'll go see first. Because I own all of those. I'm a big Marvel geek, so I watch those movies a lot when I'm bored. But there's nothing like being there together with people. Guardians, by the way, the latest Guardians of the Galaxy is fantastic.
Oh, you cry.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I cried.
He cried.
And it was
crazy.
beautiful.
It's so
it was beautiful.
well done. So
Yeah,
well.
it was
I didn't
incredible.
expect that. And just think about
I
that.
didn't either.
Well, think about this. It was a movie that seemed to be in trouble, They lost their director. Their director came back, and he made probably one of the most impactful Marvel movies of Phase 4 in this
Absolutely.
one.
Tied up every subplot perfectly. I
Every.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a perfect way to tie it up, and you're exactly right. I cried in that movie about 3 times, and it was beautifully done. It was beautifully acted. I think it was a beautiful send away. My favorite one is still Ragnarok,
Oh, Thor Ragnarok.
You know what?
Thor
Ragnarok
hilarious.
is hilarious. I think it was dependable what Thor was.
Yeah, and the funniest line is when Loki says, "I'd like to ride up the asshole," or whatever, the devil's anus, or whatever it was. I still laugh every time he says that stupid line.
Speaking of
I
Loki,
die every time when Bruce Banner jumps out of the ship and he thinks he's going to turn into Hulk when he hits the rainbow road.
Yeah,
He just smacks it. I crack up every single time because that's literally the funniest part of the whole movie to me. How he just smacks that road. It's too good.
Yeah, I missed that. And you're right, because Guardians was a little bit like phase 3 or whatever phase it was. They haven't really been the same since Endgame.
Oh no, you can't take everybody's favorite characters that they've ever known and basically say they basically don't matter anymore right now.
Yeah. WandaVision was great too, by the way, if you haven't seen that.
Oh no, yeah, WandaVision was something that it gives you a lot of clarity to that character and everything that's happening. I really like that. And then you got season 2 of Loki getting ready to release. And
when is that? Because I'm waiting for that.
I believe it's July. I believe it's in July. No, it's this summer.
Okay. Oh, there is one other thing. I forgot about this. There's an animation on Netflix called Blue Eye Samurai that I have about 5 episodes. That comes out in November.
Okay.
It's really interesting animation by some, sort of big heavy hitters in quote unquote real television. So it's called Blue Eye Samurai, and that I think is going to be out in the fall on Netflix.
Well, we like I said, once again, we've been telling you for the last 20 minutes, but this is the thing about conversation. We love just talking about, games, talking about movies, TV shows. It's great. Right. And you are always welcome whenever you want to come back on, and just let us know, hit us up, and we will definitely bring you on if you have anything else you want to share. But we will let you get to the rest of your day, and go Nuggets.
Go Nuggets. I had a great time, and also watch Attack on Titan.
Yes, Attack on Titans is so good.
Yeah. I actually prefer the English version because the dialogue is so terrible and they do it so well. So I got to catch up on that. They do it so well. I want that. If anyone's out there from Attack on Titan, I want to do a voice job in that because I love that one. But thank you guys. I had a really great time. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit.
No, you're good. No, you're good. We are too. We appreciate you coming through. And then, like I said, reach out if you ever need anything.
Anytime, guys. It was a lot of fun, and try to cool off in there. Hopefully it's not too hot and humid out east.
Oh no, I'm in the basement where it's 15 degrees cooler downstairs than upstairs.
Good.
Yeah.
We're like 70, I think. It's cloudy out in Los Angeles. So.
But you can go outside in whatever you want right now and not be judged.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you're always judged in LA. Let's be honest.
That's true, unfortunately.
I think Los Angeles means judgment in ancient Eritrean or in Latin or something. So in Sanskrit or whatever that language the UN made up. What was the language the UN made up? Oh, Esperanto.
That's a thing?
That's look it up. It's a made up language. So they were trying to figure out like a language that didn't exist anywhere. So apparently they made up this language called Esperanto, which is a completely made up language of who's going to be the language of the world. I'm 86.7% sure that's actually the truth about it. But yeah, look it up. It was a completely made up language that they just sort of were trying to use like this world language.
I literally wouldn't put that past our government.
Yeah. It was. I think it was just sort of way the governments could communicate with each other, but it was called Esperanto.
Nice.
So I will leave you with that useless piece of information.
And we will, and I will be DMing you as I'm watching this show on Paramount Plus, and let you know what I think.
No problem. It's actually technically, according to Wikipedia, the world's most widely spoken, constructed, internationally auxiliary language.
That sounds like a military term.
Yeah. So cool. Okay, guys. Thanks very much. Have a good one.
Yeah.
And, go Nuggets. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Nope.
Anytime you want.
Definitely.
I'll be back. I'll come back.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Sounds great, bro.
Talk to you
Take care,
later.
Patrick.
Now I got to figure out how to sign out of Discord. It took me half an hour to sign in, but I think I'll be okay.
There's a little. You see where it says voice connected?
I'm just going to turn the iPad off and hopefully it does it. So
That should work.
hopefully, we'll see. Wish me luck.
All right. See you
Okay.
later.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Slow mo.
Oh, I
Yo.
gotta get it out. There it is. Okay.
Yep, got it. There he is.
He got it.
He got it. Slow mo. That was great.
Shout out to Patrick.
Shout out to Patrick
Gallagher. That was great. Because it went from being an interview to just a conversation. I love that. Like when you just vibe with someone and you just start just talking. You know, it's just you just start talking about the things that you care about. Movies. I mean, he's not really into games like that like we are, but we're big movie and TV show buffs anyway. So the conversation just flowed.
Absolutely. Yep. So shout out to the guys that stuck around through the interview. I know it's all about, we all here for gaming and stuff, but when you get a chance to, interview somebody as pristine as that, you definitely take the opportunity, and we really appreciate him coming on, and appreciate all you guys for sticking through and hanging out with us. But slow mo, we do have some business to take care of, and it's called the rest of the show.
Let's do it.
So let's move on to the first topic. And like I said, once again, appreciate everybody that came through and checked this out. MetaQuest 3 is coming this fall. But that's not even the funny thing. The funny thing is the MetaQuest Pro and the MetaQuest 2 is seeing a 26% drop in price, which is going to put the MetaQuest 2 back to the original price that it used to be, a year ago? Slow mo.
Yes, $300 for the base one, and I think like $400 for the highest
for the 256. Yes, slow mo.
And guess what I just did like last week?
You just sold your MetaQuest.
Sold my MetaQuest too. I sold that.
That was called foreshadowing.
Oh man, I was so happy. I was like, yes, because I was like, oh man, if I didn't sell it last week and I tried to sell it now. Oh, it would be worth less.
It'd be worth like $180.
I sold it for like $350. So now I'm pretty sure the guy I sold it to, which is en route to his house right now, was like, damn it. But maybe he got a lot of extra stuff though. Yeah. I got a lot of stuff I got on discount, but like he's got the battery pack, the additional battery pack source. He's got the link cable to your PC. And I threw in a actual Quest 2 stand where he can just sit it on there, and he doesn't have to. And the case I got the travel case for free. But he got the travel case. Like he's good. He's good. And then the fact that like they're going to do a firmware update that somehow, I mean, look, very rarely do you see things like this, but improve CPU and GPU percentage like 20% or something like that on average. So the Quest 2 is, getting a nice little bump. And then the Quest 3 is going to be at $500, right? And then it's going to, I don't know. All I saw was that it was backwards compatible to the entire Quest library, which is great. So that's great. So like the people don't have to worry about upgrading and if I upgrade, oh man, what does that mean for all these games I bought? Yeah, well, you can still play those games. It's all good. Aramis says, FOMO slow-mo buying the MetaQuest 3. No, I am good on VR. The reason why I sold my Quest 2 is because I wasn't using it. I hadn't used it for over a year. And for me, I was like, well, I'm not using this, and I do want to get a new motherboard. So I said, and then to not have the wife all like, here you go spending all this money again. I said, well, you know what? Cool. I'm going to go sell this thing I'm not using. I'm going to use the money for that for my motherboard. So there we are. So nope, not getting the Quest 3. Although shout out to all those people who are into VR. Here, Meta. Hopefully it sells, because I kind of feel like this might be, with the way that the losses have been with Meta recently, I do wonder if I do wonder if this does not sell well, if Meta is getting out of the VR business, which would be terrible because they own studios that
Yeah.
they acquired, Ready at Dawn, and acquired them specifically for making VR games.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I hmm, VR. It's like at this point, it's. I'm not gonna say it's not oversaturated. It just seems like there's so many different devices. PlayStation has one, and I'm not really seeing any real new experiences. Like, let's be for real. The last real true experience in VR was Half-Life Alex. And how long ago has that been, Slow Mo? Like,
It's been a few years,
yeah,
yeah.
the last ground. Not saying that games like Call of the Mountain and stuff aren't good, because I do believe that it's a stunning visual game, but there hasn't really been a VR game that's kind of made me feel like I need to spend $500 or $1,000 or whatever the price of whatever VR headset you want to buy costs.
Mhm.
Just for that reason, it's like, VR is not one of those things that you buy just for the one thing, because like I can go out and buy a PlayStation 5 for God of War, because I know that if I want to at some point, there's going to be another experience that may surprise me, that's going to be on level with that type of game or experience on that platform. Plus, there's a whole bunch of other games that come to it that are tailored to that type of experience. Where with VR, there isn't really any other game like a Half-Life Alex that is more of it's not it's an experience tied to a narrative, tied to an overall gameplay progression that feels really, really good. Because it's either you're going to get a game that's an experience, or you're going to get a game that's basically just to get you up and moving, or it's a game that's going to make you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it gets monotonous. It's not too many games that come out that put it all together, and then
Mhm.
you're asking somebody to spend anywhere from 300 to 500 to $1,000 to get that experience that you're not going to get on a consistent basis. So I like that they're doing it, because technology moves at a breakneck speed right now. But with the way the technology is moving, what's the next? In like a year, we're gonna have another headset that's gonna be better than this.
You know what? I'll get back into VR when VR has become the way VR is in Black Mirror,
Oh
where it's
yeah,
just me putting on some shades in this VR, or I'm just taking like something like the size of a pebble and I'm just sticking it on my temple, and then my eyes go white, and then I'm in a VR world and it's really just like powered by my own brain waves or something.
right,
That's when I'm getting into VR. I look, Quest 3 hey, they somehow were able to squeeze more power out of a fully mobile, no wires headset, and you could do wired if you want to, kind of stuff. That's great. That's great. That's great. Just not for me. It's not for me. I'm good.
right. Yeah, yeah. It's just at that point, it's like I'm kind of over it, just like with a lot of other technologies that are out there. But we can move on from that.
Mhm.
Slow mo, Knights of the Old Republic, a game
That make me mad,
a
man.
game that expires. The wrong studio started making this game in the first place. But Slow mo, is this game actually going to ever come out, sir? Are
I
we
don't
actually
think
going to
so.
see this game?
I think this game will get canceled. And the last time the game was brought up by somebody brought it up to Embracer, they didn't want to talk about it. So there's no new news, but this is a lot of information a context of information that's been coming out in regards to it. Uh, Aspire just wasn't up to the task, which is something that I kind of figured was the case. I've said it before. There are specific studios I think that should only be the only ones allowed to really touch this. But what was new news about this was that it looked like Aspire had made a deal in order to do the remake for Knights of the Old Republic. and that was a part of their contract to do all the ports that they were doing to the Switch and mobile and all that other stuff. But it's just they just weren't up to the task, and it's not going to happen. And I think Sony was probably smart to uh, put the onus on them to kind of up the quality a bit, and they were also smart. Lucasfilm Games and Sony smart to fire them, and but going to Saber Interactive, like the only people that Saber Interactive picked up apparently were the narrative team, which a lot of people were kind of like iffy on, if you recall, in
Right.
regards to the Aspire's narrative team, and it's just like I just don't think. I'm not saying Saber Interactive is a terrible studio, but they don't have the pedigree of the other studios that actually have either done already great Western RPG games already or have worked on this IP and done amazing work on this IP in some capacity. So I just I can't I can't see it coming out. And I kind of if it's not going to be excellent, I don't want it to come out. Just cancel it. If it can't live up to the lofty expectations that are on this game, and is it part nostalgia? Sure, but the original game is excellent, one of the best RPGs ever made, and if you can't do that justice, then don't do it at all.
Mm, that's true. That's true. I just think at a certain point right now, there's so many people that just really, really want to see this game actually come out. It's just at a point where we're like, should it be remade at this point? If you, like you said, if you can't do it the way that it's intended to be done, I'd rather my last experience with this game be the experience I had with it. You
Right.
know, because let's be for real, a lot of games have been sullied and a lot of franchises have been sullied over the years due to the lack of care and trust that either sequels have did or remakes of a game that didn't stand, not remakes but remasters or remakes of a game that kind of didn't stand up to what it was. I just don't want my last experience to be what that is. So
Mediocre
yeah.
remake that doesn't get it right, and they out here making changes, the characters and stuff. Like there was talk that they were like changing the gender of a few characters, and I'm just like, what are y'all doing?
Right.
You don't need to change perfection. Just do the remake. Just look visually, make it pop. Modernize it. The best one thing I would say probably definitely would need to change is the combat, which they were supposed to be going more towards a either. I've heard two things. I've heard Final Fantasy VII remake was some of the inspiration for the combat, and I've heard God of War as well. Either of those is fine, honestly. Just as long as the story and characters remain untouched.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that. I just think that for the most part, we just got to get to a point where you're like, uh, I just don't know I just don't know at this point, honestly.
Hmm.
But moving on to ooh PC Master Race, baby.
Let's go.
PC, hey, slow mo, whole slate, slow mo,
Oh,
whole
slate.
slate. Ratch and Clank coming to the PC.
Hold up, Forte.
Yes.
Ratch and Clank.
Oh yeah, that definitely is not spelled right. Oops. We got a spell check here. Y'all ain't even called me out in the chat, man. Y'all crazy. I miss Taz. Ratchet.
Oh no, Taz did call it out earlier during the interview.
Oh, he
saw
did.
it.
There we
Mhm.
go. Ratchet. Spelled correctly now. Takes a second to upload, but it is Ratchet. But slow mo. Ratchet and Clank coming to the PC. Now I didn't see. Did they give
I'm
specs
being
or
messy on Twitter.
Oh,
Uh,
what did you? Man, leave these people alone, man.
no, I'm sorry. No. So look, all of us that understood PC and understood the technology knew this was going to come to PC. There were
Mhm.
a lot of people 2 years ago that was like, it's not possible. It's impossible for it to be on PC. The PlayStation 5 IO architecture, like, and then ignoring that there were developers saying, no, this could work on the PS4. Ignoring that there were multiple ways for them to get this game running on PC. You didn't have to develop it the exact same way it was developed on PS5. And I mean, it's hardware wise, it's freaking PC. Like people act like a SSD was invented by PlayStation and Sony, and like Mark Cerny invented the NVMe SSD. He invented the M.2 port. No, this is stuff that people already had. You know, I when I first built my PC in 2019, I had an M.2 two M.2 ports on my motherboard and used one of them for my games already. So it's just this is stuff that like we already had. Now sure, the PlayStation's SSD is Generation 4. You know, a lot of people. I'm on Generation 3 still. I have a Samsung 970 Evo Pro. Two of them actually. I got one's 1 terabyte, the other one is 2 terabytes. And it's curious when the technical specs come out about what's the minimum spec, what's recommended, what's ultra, what's with ray tracing, like when all that stuff comes out, it's going to be interesting to see what the actual specs are. I guarantee you, I think the minimum, even with minimum spec, I'm guarantee you is going to say 32 gigs of RAM.
Oh yeah.
But I'm also fairly certain that it's not going to say a M.2
Yep.
NVMe SSD.
Remember
It's
when
just
it
going to
said you
say
needed that?
SATA. It's just going to say it's SATA SSD. I'm fairly certain it's going to be like that. I'm telling you, and it's going to run fine. Would the PlayStation version be like a second or two faster on load? Probably, but that's also going to be running like at half the frame rate for some of us who have high-end PCs.
Oh man.
So take your 2 second, your 1 or 2 seconds load. I'll take the crazy frame rates and doing that. I'm gonna take having better ray tracing. I'm gonna take actually having all of the nice features that people have. Like Forte has an ultra wide. His ultra wide is going to be supported.
Sure is.
It's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious.
Just like on Diablo tonight. As soon as this podcast's over.
and for those that are saying that no one said that it could only run on the PlayStation, lies. I got receipts.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
holding on to them. I'm holding on to them until the specs come out, until the game comes out, and then we see how it loads and people do tests of it loading. Guarantee you there's gonna be people that's going to test it running on a hard drive too. Although like I think that's just anyone still using a mechanical hard drive in 2023. What is wrong with you? But guarantee you that when that stuff comes, like, I got the receipts for the people because I've seen some different energy already. People just like, man, we weren't saying it couldn't run. We were just saying, it's going to be different. No, you said it couldn't run. I remember. So, yeah, I got receipts on that.
Everborn's like giving you the googly eyes. Hey, Pixelbit, that's what that's what I'm running too, man. 5120 by 1440. Well, actually I'm running 5120 by 1600.
With Diablo, did you do the edition that allows you to play right now?
Absolutely. That's why I said that as soon as the podcast is over, I'm on there.
You try to get this thing over with fast. Hey, look,
I'm sorry.
I'm not spending.
I
am not spending an extra $20 to play the game 5 days.
No. I want all the extra stuff. I always buy the $100 version for Diablo. It's just something I've done ever since the second one.
Yeah, I'm good. I can wait.
You can wait till what, Tuesday next week?
Is it? Wait, it's the 6th, right?
Yeah, Tuesday next week.
Yep. That's what I'll be playing it then.
Well, okay. Well, you listen, man. Diablo is woo, it's gonna be fun tonight, bro. I'm definitely jumping on there tonight.
What is your let's not dwell
Well,
too much on this, but which class are you starting with?
sorcerer.
Sorcerer? Yeah, that's probably what I was gonna do too.
Sorcerer and what is it? Not necromancer, demon hunter. Or what is the demon hunter name now? I don't know if it's called demon hunter in this. But sorcerer is one of the not the easiest, but one of the fastest ones to use to get through the campaign. So I definitely want to use that character. Cause I was talking to, shout out to Ty Guy Travis. I was at a party with him the other day talking to him about it. And he's gonna do it on I believe he said he's gonna do it on his main is gonna be
They were
barbarian.
probably playing that terrible Destiny game together, weren't y'all?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I see. I knew it.
Hey, but it's not
Destiny
terrible. It
crackheads,
wasn't terrible, man. It's good. It's a game. Listen, at least we got a game to play.
we all have games to play.
Well, no, we have but the
Mhm.
game we're playing is a game that we love and not just multiple games.
Okay, so
Just saying, it's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with having a love, Slow-mo.
Of a person, sure. Of a game,
man.
I don't know about that.
Just so-
Pixel says he's going to start with Necromancer. You know, like I recently, ever since I played the Diablo 4 beta, I just had the itch to get back. Still play more Diablo when the beta was over, so I went back to Diablo 3. And I had they had very smart Blizzard and Activision. They had it on Super Sale on PlayStation for like what $10 or something like that. I think
Yeah.
it might have been less than that. I can't remember. It was dirt cheap. But I got the entire collection with everything, including the Necromancer DLC. And with that, I'm telling you, man, like I didn't realize the Necromancer was that good. Like so I might have to roll with Necromancer first because in Diablo 3 I was having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I love Demon Hunter. I know I'm gonna do Sorcerer. Then I probably end up doing Barbarian. Spin the win, baby. Spin the win. Probably do that after that. But I'm definitely gonna go through it the first time and see what old Lilith is up to in this game. It's gonna be fun,
Let's
man.
get back to the topic. Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah. Well,
are
we were talking about a PC
playing
game.
it? Are you playing it on PC?
You know what? There's a good chance I could play it on PC, but
Because I don't think you played it at all.
I
Right?
did. I played it on PS5. I did. I just didn't. I got to.
Of course, you didn't finish it because you never finished. Because that's the meme. You know that
Forte
is
starts it but never
in our
finishes it.
DPS community. That's what we know. Forte plays games for 5 seconds and never finishes them. Like what does Gregor say? Like, what was the last game you finished? You know, I don't know. Like your kids were babies or something like that. I don't know.
Oh
But
my
like
God.
you don't finish no games. So
This
I'm
is
not
terrible.
surprised that you started the game. But it's terrible because it's true.
You know
You
where
start
I'm at?
games and you don't finish them.
Well, the funny thing is, I actually really enjoyed it. I was like on the second planet that you go to in Ratchet and Clank. Was it the second?
Sad. It's not even a long game.
It's not. It's really not. I booted it up like probably a month ago, and I like looked at it. I was like, I need to finish this. I need to finish this.
Absolutely terrible. I beat the game on PS5. I will get it again.
Are you gonna double dip?
Beat it. Oh heck yeah! You know how I roll, man. You know, like if it's a game I was feeling, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll play it again.
Is it on Steam or is it on Epic?
It's on both.
Oh, it's on both.
You get it on both, yeah.
So that means Green Man Gaming is the way to go.
I think it's Let me double check. I think it's $50.
Oh shoot, that means on Green Man it's gonna be like 44.
Like 40.
Like $43. I'm about to live right now.
Ratchet and Clank.
Green Man Gaming.
Rift Apart.
Street Fighter's only
PC.
Ratchet.
Yo, I think it's yeah. It's I was wrong.
Oh,
it's $60.
Oh,
but it's still $10 cheaper than what it was on PlayStation.
Yeah.
$70 on PlayStation.
For a more, what
So-
you say
so
for a better experience?
For a better experience. Although I guess they assume that like they make it cheaper because it's an older title. You know, it's 2 years old.
Right. Still.
But it's still it's gonna be a better version of the game for a keeper. So I'm down with it.
I agree. Did they give a date on it? A release date on it yet?
Release July 26th.
July 26th.
So we got a month. We got basically 2 months because it's the
That's
end
a
of
good-
July.
That's actually a
It's
good
the
date.
beginning of June right now.
That's actually a good date because there's nothing that well, I guess we'll find out at Xbox's showcase next month if there's, or this month I should say, that there's nothing else coming out around that time, because it's like July is kind of an open month. It usually always is an open month, and then everything starts flooding for like
mid-August,
yeah,
middle of August,
because they consider Madden the beginning of the holiday season, like the holiday like window. So that's when, like, which is normally like the back end of August, and then right then that's when you get into Starfield, probably most likely Spider-Man, which I do think is shooting for September, but I think they just don't want to rush it out. And if it's ready, they'll have it out in September. But if it's not, it's going to probably be October. But we'll talk about that. We can actually talk about that a little bit later too, about just our predictions for, we got the Xbox showcase. We have a show next week, but we could definitely talk about some of the things that we saw from Xbox over the course and the things they've been talking about. Moving on to the next topic, Redfall faces an unclear direction. Slow-mo, I saw this, like when you sent me this article, and I was like, what's going on with Redfall now? I was like, ain't we done with this game? Obviously not. Obviously not. We're not done with it. So
I mean, they're not done with it either. They still haven't dropped that performance mode.
They sure haven't. So,
which, like, clearly, if it was something, some people was like, "Oh man, it's no big deal. Performance mode come out in a few weeks." If it was only going to take a few weeks to get the performance mode ready, they just would have delayed it those few weeks to have it ready. That thing ain't coming out for months.
yeah,
more than like.
yeah.
This whole thing was, I mean, Jason Schreier out here, is
very
the
lengthy article too.
Where he kind of details some information that I think a lot of us suspected, that ZeniMax Media kind of had a mandate in regards to like where they were financially and wanting their studios that were making critically acclaimed games, but they weren't selling, to start doing games that were more multiplayer focused, live service, games as a service kind of stuff. And there was Fallout 76 that initially did terribly, but has recovered since then. There's Wolfenstein Youngblood, which didn't do great, but this is the worst one of them all. Redfall is, it's just a bad game. It is. In just looking at that, reading that article, I started to really kind of see a lot. I think most of it was stuff that just really was just confirmation of things that I assumed and some things that I knew. But I thought probably the one big thing that a lot of people seem to be debating today has been about the 70%. So in the article, Jason Schreier says that because the Arcane Austin studio really didn't want to make Redfall, but it was more of leadership and management that wanted to make the game, that a lot of the studio talent left. And he said that it was 70% of the staff that was there for Prey is no longer there. And I've seen a lot of people, a lot of commentary on this in regards to people saying, 70% of Arcane Austin is gone since Prey, which we don't really know that for certain. What was stated specifically was 70% of the Prey team was gone. So we don't know if Redfall was in a skeleton, crew, kind of like a skeleton mode in pre-production while they were finishing up on Prey and Typhoon Hunter. We don't really know exactly how many people are gone, but 70% is still significant. That's the majority of the team that was there working on Prey. And they also had difficulty bringing in talent that had they had already had experience making multiplayer games because you know you have a studio and you have a reputation, and Arcane's reputation is immersive sim, single player. Even though it's first person perspective, it's not like a shooter. It's stealth elements, and you're gonna get people that if someone is applying for a job at your studio and you're known for a particular kind of work, you're gonna get people that I'm there for to make immersive sims, and then you start saying, so yeah, so what is your experience with Unreal Engine? Huh? Yeah, what's your experience on multiplayer games? And I'm pretty sure that kind of threw a lot of people for a loop, but then like that's difficult getting the right kind of talent for the kind of game that you're making. And I think that is kind of obvious with Redfall and how, look, just now I just watched you do that terrible elbow to someone in the back, and it's just like
It's
so
pretty
many people
bad.
who play their games are like, yeah, I'm shocked that that's the stealth kill in this game. That's terrible. That's not what I expect from Arcane. But but it tracks with what the article was saying because this isn't the same. A lot of this not the same people that are there. So which kind of concerns me a little because it's like, well, now that this game is out of the way and Cinemax Media isn't worried about, staying alive financially, the studio has the creative freedom as they always did to go make how they used to have, to go make the game that they want to make. But now you don't really have that immersive sim talent that was there for Prey. And so now you're gonna have to build that up, and more than likely, probably not going to see a game from this studio for a while. Well, this particular studio, Arcane Leon, will likely have another game out not too long from now, or who we know how development is, but they're going to have to restaff themselves for the kind of games they want to make, and that may take time as they also are trying to fill out what their next game actually will be. So
Remember, Phil Spencer said he would bet on this studio again in that Kind of Funny interview.
and I will too. I think with the right kind of game that they want to make, the right talent. They've made quality games before. They
Yep.
can make quality games again. Like that should not be doubted. It's just that if you've lost so much of your talent, like we saw with Moon Studios and Ori, that they lost like 80% of their studio from the first game to the second game, but they were able to retool with people who made the second game just as good as the first game. The problem, though, is that due to a lot of the Moon Studios issues with the founders, is that eventually, you get a reputation of it's terrible to work here. People, quality talent's not gonna really be trying to come through. And I'm not saying that's Arcane Austin. I don't know the culture there, and then this where article doesn't speak on the culture there, but it's going to take time for them to get the right people back or new people in that really fit what they're trying to do to make what they want to make. That's all.
Yeah. Let's be for real. Um, this game underperformed for a multitude of reasons. It was pushed out when it wasn't ready. It's sales wise, even if the game was a really good game, um, monetarily you're not going to make as much money because it's in Game Pass. You're not going to make as much money if you were just selling it as a box product that you could just sell to people, and that's the only way you can get it. Not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's part of it. And Microsoft knows that because they're hoping on engagement and subscription numbers to offset that. So I don't hold sales metrics and everything against games that go into Game Pass just due to the fact that Microsoft has that plan set up in place for it to be that way. But you can't release a game in the state that Redfall was in, expecting it to even be something that people want to play. Because the one thing about Game Pass that people don't talk about It's the fact that it's real easy to move on from a game in Game Pass.
Yeah.
The fact that
Yeah. You
I
don't
could
have a
just
financial stake in it because you
yeah
didn't buy it.
yeah
And if you're not really feeling it, hey, turn it off, uninstall, move on to the next one. You
and
know, and
yep.
yeah, there is the whole mentality of like I bought this. So you almost kind of want to, even though you can take it back to, let's say if you bought it physically, you can take it back to GameStop, to Best Buy, Walmart, wherever. Or if you have like Steam, if you bought it on Steam, you get 2 hours to
But you decided to make the investment into doing it though.
right, which kind of comes with a little bit more stake in the game than say you already paid for Game Pass that month and you just installed something that look interesting, or maybe you were looking forward to it, but it's uh it's no skin off your back to uninstall and then move on, you know. But I do kind of I this is what I hope. What I hope is that like when Phil Spencer said this is a learning lesson, that we will course correct and fix this issue, and this kind of thing doesn't happen again.
Facts.
But I have to acknowledge that I see too often with them where it almost seems as if the first time they're seeing the game is the first time we're seeing the game, when it's just like that should not be the case. Like, you should know the state of your games before they come out. This is like when they revealed Halo Infinite's gameplay for the first time. And people talk about the popping, the draw distance terrible, Craig face, the terrible lighting, the terrible reflections, the way the game looked, and they were like, yeah, we apologize, it should have been in that state. And then they delay the game, and but it's like, but you still showed it. So if we didn't complain, what were you going to do? You're
What were
going
you
to
gonna
release
do?
it as is. So, like, what I need from them is for them to have the same push for a minimum level of quality that I see from Sony and Nintendo. That's what I want to see. And I almost sometimes kind of feel like I might need to say that we used to get from Sony, because The Last of Us Part One's port was absolutely awful, and I was shocked that Sony would release a port completely unfinished,
It's a
but
different
they
Sony, man.
it maybe an
It,
absolutely different Sony. They are pushing for quality when it comes to, having Bungie out here,
yep.
axing games and
Go
and
for
and
it,
getting
baby.
games
Bungie. Tell them about
restructured
their
and played.
games.
And even though Bungie ain't the one I think need to be doing all that, but anyway, but it's just to get back to Redfall, I'm when Jason Schreier does a report on you,
Yeah, it ain't good.
it's never a good sign. And I'm just tired of seeing them giving Jason this material, this kind of material. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm hoping that like this is the last time that we're dealing with that. Shout out to Dragonheart Yobi with the re-upping for his channel membership. 7 months now. Appreciate you, Yobi.
Yeah, shout out to the members. Shout out to the new icon that everybody got if you're a year membership. I see those DPS emblems out there with the circle
Right.
around them. Shout out to the 1 year members. Really appreciate you guys. And shout out to you, Dragonheart Yobi. We really appreciate it from you too, man.
Yeah, yes, Rob. The PS5 version of Returnal, as well as Days Gone had a lot of bugs too at launch. So like but it's not it ain't as it's not Redfall bad. Like Redfall is, I say, a broken game because the AI does not operate the way it should. And it's just like it's not fun, and it's so many issues. And in fact, they still haven't patched the game yet. It's been 2 weeks and no patch. But what 2 weeks? Maybe 3 weeks? I can't remember how long.
It's been out since May 2nd.
Yeah, okay. So it's been almost a full month. There's been no patch.
And guess what? What do you say when they
So there's
said
more than the performance mode. There are problems with the game. They still haven't fixed yet.
still ain't got no
That's
60 frames per second?
yeah. Look, it's just at least what I can say with Days Gone is that like they push the patch almost daily to fix Days Gone. And then with Returnal, the reason why I quit Returnal on PlayStation was because like look, you got me out here playing a roguelite, and I can lose all progress if I die. I'm not trying to lose progress because of your bugs.
Right, facts.
I want to lose progress because I got bodied. I'm down with that. I'm not down with losing progress. Like with the first time that happened to me, and I went into like a corner, and I think I fell through the floor or something, and then the screen went black, and it never came back. And I was just like, I'm sitting there. I sat there for like 30, 40 seconds, like, okay, that ain't supposed to happen. So like I'm just thinking, like I've been playing for like 45 minutes, and I'm like, and I started seeing a lot of people complaining about. I was like, you know what, I'm good. I will wait. And I have it on PC now, which I still haven't played, which I'm going to get into as eventually, because being Forte is supposed to be co-op in this game, but it is what it is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Erodimus says, fix free member milestone chat. You can't put a message in it. I think that is automatic, and I don't think it pops up. Like I do have it. I
What
can
is
put a
it?
message in it. Yeah, I think I don't know what's going on, Erodimus. You may want to refresh the stream because I can put a message in mine. And I'm writing one right now. And everything I'm about to write is 1000% true.
Oh, he talking about the member thing?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, let me try to send one and see what happens. Yep, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, just refresh your Bungie. So shout out to Slow Mo Backslap with the 1 year membership, top 1% DPSer in the DPS podcast. Bungie is overrated. Riot Games is way better.
And it's 1000% true. That's all I speak is truth. Thank you.
Riot Games is only on PC though.
For now.
Well, that's all they have is right now. They can't go get somebody that isn't.
Imagine the fact that that just one of their games eclipses, like doubles the concurrent users that Bungie's Destiny does.
Well, if we're going to use that logic,
on just one platform.
If we're going to use that logic, though, we can say the same thing about Valve when it comes to Dota.
Is Dota still Dota's dead?
Is it dead?
I think Dota is dead. Nobody play Dota no more.
Nobody play Dota no more? I don't know, man. It's been a while.
I think Dota is it Dota 2, right?
Yeah, it's Dota 2.
Dota 2. This is what I'm talking about with you Destiny players, because y'all don't know anything.
I'm about to look at the Steam charts. Is Dota not on the list no more? It's been a while. It's been a while.
No, it's people still playing.
Yeah, how many people playing it?
The past 20, well, right now it's 280,000.
Oh yeah, it's still. That's what I'm saying. I'm about to say Dota's still a thing.
Well, you know what it is? I think I got Dota confused with Heroes of the Storm.
Oh no, ain't nobody playing that no more, man.
Ain't nobody playing. But you have to go outside of Steam to get Valorant's.
They get their numbers. They're
concurrent players.
It's probably higher. It's definitely higher than Dota.
Oh yeah, it's like double right now.
Yeah.
it's 500,000 on it right now.
Not hard it's not hard for the stay at the top once you up there, Slow Mo.
And the peak in the past 30 days was 3 million.
Dang.
Yep. So look, hey, like I said, Riot Games way better.
Riot Games way better.
But no, just thought that, to finish up the topic, it's I kind of feel like everything that was in the article for the most part was stuff we already knew. Again, the 70% thing is the only thing that was really, really new. We knew that they didn't really want to make the game. We knew that Microsoft didn't pay attention. we knew that they wanted to cancel it, but Microsoft only came in and said, "Hey, cancel that PS4 version, that PS5 version," and moved on. And we see now that like they gotta pay more attention to what's happening with these studios. So I'll say this because it's something that I think keeps coming up. People are confusing Microsoft needing to look in and make sure quality is happening with stifling creative freedom. Those are two different things. And you can still have creative freedom while also having the publisher have quality assurance. So let's say Forte decides to make a game. It's a zombie apocalypse game that's third person perspective. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and but this time, but in it, it's it's a bunch of midgets as the main protagonists, right? Okay, do something different. And I'm looking at the game. The game's trash. It's garbage. I'm like, as the publisher, Forte, this game
Mm-hmm.
sucks.
Okay.
I'm canceling it. But I'm still giving Forte the ability to make something else. I'm not telling him, not only am I canceling this game, I'm telling you, I want you to make a Destiny clone. No, I'm telling him, I'm canceling the game. It's not good enough. This isn't going to work. There's no audience for this. But please go make something else. And you have the creative freedom to make whatever the heck you want. But just because you have the creative freedom to make whatever the heck you want doesn't mean I'm going to approve of everything that you want to make. So like there's you gotta have that balance. And they need to create that balance in order for people to get it in their minds that like there is a certain level of quality for Xbox games. Because whether they are in tune with ZeniMax Media and everything ZeniMax Media is doing, even though it's supposed to be independent, the gaming community as a whole still looks at it as that's an Xbox game. And so if they're going to take credit for stuff like Psychonauts 2, you need to also take the credit for the L that is Redfall, you know?
That's true.
I do agree. They need to refund everyone that bought that buyback edition because that's terrible. You can't even find nobody to play the game. And I think it was like $100. Like, what the heck? So yeah, that's all I gotta say. You got any more thoughts on this?
No, I do want to ask you. So with Redfall, it was supposed to be the start of the new Xbox in people's eyes. What?
Oh, I think they're thinking, yeah, the start of the new Xbox is going to start in September.
Now it is. Now it's gonna be in September. we literally moved the goalposts.
Pause. Break. The new Xbox starts in September, not in May. Because like this is not it. If this is the start of the new Xbox, this is like the runner in track tripping up as soon as he gets out of his brakes. Like it's not working. No. Their best bet, go ahead and do what you promised with this game, which is deliver the performance mode, patch all the bugs, fix the AI for God's sake.
The AI is
And then
terrible.
from there, divorce yourself from this game and go make something that Arcane Austin would like to make. And then hopefully the next time we see them, they make it something that people really care for.
Facts.
Um,
I don't disagree with that.
yeah. What I mean, before we leave, what do you? Oh, we're gonna get more into this next week
Oh yeah.
anyway.
Well, I
But
was thinking about that because you don't. Yeah. So we're still having a show next week. So it's going to be before the showcase. But we can throw a little tidbit out there. What you thinking?
so there's this Fable ad, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can discuss this real quick. So, did we ever discuss Bungie? The problems with Bungie
Which problems with Bungie?
and factions? Did we
We
discuss that last week?
did touch on it.
Okay, all right, never mind. Then it's been discussed already.
Oh, but you seems like you
Fable.
still got a little bit of smoke. So
No, because I remember seeing someone earlier in the chat asking if we were going to discuss it or not, I couldn't remember if we did or didn't. But if we did, then there's no reason to really touch on it again. If you want to know our thoughts about that, just go back to last week. But so the Fable ad, right?
mm-hmm.
This Fable ad comes out. The Xbox Twitter account puts out the ad, and it's a video of someone sitting on a couch with an Xbox, and they look at their controller and it's got glitter all over it.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the music being played in the background is not one for one. It's not the exact same score, but it's it's a different score, but very similar to the theme of Fable 1. They follow this glitter trail, which I'm sorry, whoever's home this is, I'd be pissed. I better clean this glitter up. There's glitter everywhere, right?
Right.
Anyway, the glitter trail goes all the way up like a staircase to a desk at a computer, and it goes on the screen is showing the Xbox showcase. Literally everyone with a brain goes, you know what? They're teasing Fable.
Yes.
Which makes total sense considering that one, like the two things I mentioned, the glitter trail. If you play Fable, you know that like kind of an archaic design. I don't know if they want to continue this going on for the new game, but the open worldish kind of design of Fable was that whenever you had a destination to get to, a quest or a mission, there would be like a little trail of glitter on the ground that will shine and sparkle or whatever, and you will follow that to your destination.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one part, and then the other part's the music. Of course, it's Fable, but there are people out here who are like, "Stop saying it's Fable. We don't know for certain if it's Fable. If it's not Fable, people are going to be upset." Well, yeah, if 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 Fable's not there, people are going to be upset. People's gonna be upset whether they did this ad or not if Fable wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Because Matt Booty came out and said last August that he wanted to show Fable at Gamescom, but Playground Games said no. So it makes sense that you would think that Fable would be at your next showcase if it was good enough to be shown like 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, when they do show it, I better see some gameplay because the last thing they showed a teaser trailer, which I don't like those kind of teaser trailers, where they don't really. It's nothing. It's nothing from the actual game. You might as well just did an announcement with
It was a
with a
nothing burger to you.
JPEG. Yeah, because it's a fairy getting ate up by a frog.
Princess and the Frog.
That fairy and the frog ain't gonna be in the game. Like it's not actually showing you the game. So when you do a follow up the next time you show the game or you do anything about the game, especially when it's been 3 years since then, I expect gameplay. That's what I expect. Shout out to Everborn Saga with the $5 super chat. Everborn says the new Xbox started in January with Hi-Fi Rush. Redfall was hopefully just a hiccup. Okay, that's fine. We can say it started in January. That's fine. Gregor Von Doom says new Xbox started last year. I guess with no games, just Pentiment. I mean, look, I don't care when the new Xbox started.
Yeah.
Don't give me another Redfall. Is what I want.
Yeah, that's
no, I want to see gameplay. I want to see what the game actually looks like. I want to see it and see what I will actually be playing and how it plays, what advancements or what ways they may have modernized the game, that kind of stuff. Frankly, if you go back to 2020, which was I think a lot of people didn't like that showcase in 2020, mostly because of the Halo gameplay. But they did a lot of. It was very much like PlayStation's last showcase, if you think about it. They opened up with Halo Infinite. They showed. Let me go back to it. They showed a CG trailer of State of Decay 3, which we haven't seen anything since then. Their one last thing was the Fable teaser, but they also show an Avowed trailer that we don't really know if that was gameplay. Definitely, maybe that last like 5 seconds of it may have been a a uh, a scripted sequence that's supposed to represent what gameplay would look like. But
You
there
talking
was a
about the part
lot of
with the
teaser
hand in the
trailer stuff.
fire, the purple fire?
Yeah. There was a lot of teaser trailer stuff in the 2020 showcase. And it's been 3 years since then. And there were other games that like they showed other games that came out since then. Like Halo Infinite's come out since then. Grounded was there. That came out since then. Um
You know what
a lot of other stuff they showed came out, but
the
for the games that they showed for the first time, they have not showed them again since then. Everwild, which I don't expect to see. But like I think Avowed, Fable, and Hellblade 2, which was also there. Those three, at this point, we need to see gameplay of these games.
I think the only difference between what Xbox, because you are right, it was kind of similar, but I do think the one difference is Xbox showed off this a bunch of the CG trailers just like they did for like State of Decay and stuff like that. But a lot of the studios had just released, like either just released the game or they just acquired them. So I think it was the fact that plus Xbox, this is the first time they showed any of these games. The difference is Sony showed Sony went 2 years and showed nothing over 2 years. Whereas the only, and I'm not trying to say Xbox gets a pass for not being able to show stuff because they didn't have it, but Xbox didn't have any studios. Up until 2017, Microsoft only had like 5 first party studios at that point. And that number ballooned to 23 in the blink of an eye within a 2-year period. So when 2020 happened and they did that showcase where they showed all those games, they just started, ramping up and start showing games a little bit earlier. Now, I do agree, this is the year that you need to pay, that needs to pay off for all of those games that they showed in 2020 and 2019. I want to see what we should get an idea what State of Decay 3 is going to look like. We should know we should see combat for Hellblades 2. We should see all of those things that you tease, Contraband. We should see what that game actually is now.
Yeah.
We should get some type of understanding. Is Avowed gonna be a first person narrative, medieval type game, or is it gonna be like a third person type game? We should see all of these different things in this showcase. And let's be for real, they don't have to show a lot.
I'm gonna tell you what I
They show
don't
some
expect
stuff.
to see. I don't expect to see Contraband. I don't expect to see State of Decay 3 based upon Undead Lab. When that report came out on Undead Labs, they were just getting themselves together. Right. So they're behind where they should be. I don't expect to see that game. I expect to see Forza Motorsport, and I expect to see a release date for it sometime this year. I don't expect to see Everwild because I don't even know if they still even know what Everwild is. And I would much rather just cancel Everwild and stop wasting Rare's time with that. If they don't know what the game is, they should have never showed us in the first place. Go make something that you know what it is.
Right.
And then when it's ready to be shown, then you show us. Don't show us some concept art, concept project nonsense. But yeah, I don't want to see that.
Right.
I think Avowed will be there. I don't know if we get Avowed gameplay though. But I think Avowed will be there. I think Hellblade 2 would be there. I think we will get Hellblade 2 gameplay. And I think that we will also get a Hellblade release date.
Right.
I don't know if it's this year. Like some people think it's this year because of how Phil Spencer was speaking. It might end up being like January or something like that. But I do think we get that. I think Is there? Oh, Fable. I think we see gameplay of Fable. I don't think we get a Fable release date. I don't think Fable comes out this year. I think that's a game that they intend on having it come out next year.
Fable, yeah, I think that's gonna be their holiday game for next year. I still think that I'm still in the belief that we're gonna get Hellblade is a real solid for this year. If it's not this year, it's going to be beginning. The thing is, either Hellblade is going to be this year or it's going to be the February March game of next year. Oh, and then Avow's going to end up because I think Avow really hinges on where Hellblade sits. If Hellblade sits in this year, I think Avow will be your game at the beginning of next year. If Hellblade isn't this year, I think that's the beginning of next year, and Avow could end up being your mid-year game, like your April, May, or June game, and then that would push something like your something that could push something else into the end of the year, maybe Fable, into the end of 2024. Kind of how
The
I
end
look
of
at it.
20. Yeah. I can see that. Like the end. Although, what else comes out next year then? Because if you got
Well, that would be 3 games. I mean, well, remember Phil Spencer did say in that interview that they are pretty much at a cadence where they can release a game, a big game every 3 months, every a quarter.
Mhm.
So if they line it up saying Starfield is the beginning of that, that would put Starfield in September.
Mhm.
Then you can get Hellblade either at the end of the year in November, December,
I
or
think
you're
Hellblade would be like November, December.
and then that
If
would give you
if
something
that's
like
the case,
Avowed
then
in February, March. Or even yet, maybe because
for some reason I feel like Hellblade might get pushed to like
you think that's
Q1 2024.
well, that's what I'm thinking. If that's what I'm saying,
And
it
Forza
really just is.
Motorsport's probably going to be somewhere in that time
I
frame
think it's
too.
going to be
Although
November.
I don't I'm the kind of person where I don't think racers really matter when it comes to, oh, we got to space stuff out, because they're so a
It's not
specific
the
demographic, especially
typical
for a
genre.
simulation racer, right? Like if it's Forza Horizon, that's more arcadey and more
It
people are
appeals to
willing to
more
play it.
people.
It appeals to more people. I mean, 30 million people have played that already. So like, yeah, that makes sense. That like, I agree with the people that said that like they should not have released the Halo Infinite multiplayer 2 weeks early, because all it did was just cut into Forza's time, even though
Oh, they
Forza's
cut its
fine.
legs off, literally.
But Forza's fine. But like motorsport, that's a simulation racer. Like you really have to be into racers to even want to play those kind of games. Gran Turismo, Forza Motorsport, that's not like your everyday gamer. And so I kind of feel like they could drop that whenever it's ready, and not feel like, oh, we can't do it right now because we got Hellblade in the
You
slated
know
for
what?
November, or and we got Starfield for September. We can't squeeze it in there. Forget that. Nah,
No,
just go ahead and drop it when it's ready.
I okay, so I this is what I think. I think we know we got Starfield in September. I think we're gonna get Forza in November. Reason
Hmm.
being, I think Forza is gonna be in November. Reason being, Forza is like you said, it's gonna sell to the niche market no matter what because it's
Right.
Forza. But it's not that type of title that's going to take away from Starfield. So Starfield in September is still going to be selling in November to people at the store. It's going to be still selling to people at Christmas in December. Because
Hmm.
if you put something like Hellblade or Avowed in there, it has the opportunity to kind of take away. Even though, and I think Starfield is going to have the longer tail just due to the type of game it's going to be, and with the modding community and everything like that. That game's going to build and grow on PC more than anything. But for a console gamer, I think having Starfield pretty much having the whole fourth quarter, so all of September all the way through the beginning of the year, and really not having a game that's going to like really appeal to that crowd until probably February is where I think Hellblade will probably come in at. I think Hellblade will be that February March game then you're going to fall into what's going to come into November and December. And I think that's when you're going to probably see either Avowed coming in the middle of the year, or you're gonna see Fable at the end. Because I don't see Fable being that title that's going to release in the middle of the year. I think they're going to save that as their big game for like September, October, November.
Freaking Fable. Look, if any franchise is up there with the Halo, Gears, and Forza
It's Fable.
IP, it's Fable. It's Fable. That IP is deserving of it. Fable 1 and 2 are great games. Fable 3, I don't know what the heck happened with Fable 3. But 1 and 2 are classics as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, make that your big holiday release for next year. Avow, it's a new IP. Obsidian are great, Western RPG developers. That's it. They're making a new IP.
Drop it in July or August.
I don't know about that. So, well, it depends. Is it ready?
No, this is all predicated if the game is ready. If it's not ready, then you don't drop it.
See, July and August is more of a time period of like indie games and like, for example, PlayStation is dropping Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart in July. That's a PC. That's a port of a 2-year-old game to a new platform, right? That's not a new release for a game, and definitely not even a new IP.
So you think Hellblade? Releasing in September or March, not September or March, February or March won't take away from Avowed in
we gotta go back to what
July,
to what
May, June.
We gotta go back to what they say they want to do, which is drop a game every quarter. So that's 4 games a year. So you're really kind of looking at like, if Fable is the last quarter of the year,
November, December,
right? Then you need to have. You're either going to have Avowed be in like September, or put a smaller game in the summer, and then put like Avowed like April, March, like that time period. Because the way things have changed now, the biggest and best games aren't always in the holiday season. They are earlier in the year too, but they're not in the summer. The summer is still kind of like,
I can see
really
April, May if they do something like Starfield in September, and then they do something like Hellblade in December.
I still kind of feel like Hellblade might be January, but whatever. That's fine.
Well, it could be.
We're getting in the weeds on a really hypothetical, because like, this is Xbox. They could definitely just show up with a bunch of teaser trailers. No gameplay and no release date.
Xbox, yeah, they could. It could be, and then everybody out here be like, "How did this show? And how did Microsoft fail? And they had the blueprint."
Right. This is the layup. Like, and it's funny how everyone is saying that now, because it's like, I said that on Twitter. I was like, "This is the easiest layup ever." Now everyone is saying, "This is the easiest layup ever for them," and I'm just like,
exactly.
Hey, look, man. A lot of bums miss layups.
that is true, bro. Well, slow-mo.
I mean, you can just very easily bounce it off the backboard end, but you tried to be cool and slick with it, and you end up messing up. So I'm just hoping they don't mess it up, man. Because to be a better showcase than PlayStation, it ain't that hard. It really ain't that hard, considering how bad that showcase was. So we need gameplay. That's what I'm expecting to see gameplay. That's what I want, and I'm not tempering my expectations. My expectations are my expectations. This is what I want out of the platforms that I support and then I am a part of. I'm not going to temper my expectations because you ain't ready when you should be.
Facts.
Yeah.
Well, sir, first of all, I want to say amazing job to you putting the interview with Patrick Gallagher together. Really great. I could definitely see the energy you had just to have him on, and I learned a lot from it, because before today I just knew
I'm a fan of his work, man.
I just knew the name, and I saw some stuff that he was in, and I'm definitely going to go check out some of his stuff. So I just want to give you flowers.
Also want to shout out to Ramon Terrell, that really kind of like did the networking side of things and really helped us kind of like link up with him and speak with him and everything. So shout out to the homie Ramon Terrell, our hallmark channel actor of the year.
Actor of the
3 years
year.
running. 3 years running. He is killing it out here.
He is. Yeah, so I always appreciate that. And
Is this Redfall gameplay yours?
huh? No,
Is
this is
this
just no,
Redfall?
this is random right here. I didn't have this
Okay, about
much.
to say, because I was just I'm like, you playing this mouse and keyboard?
No, this is random right here. I just had to find some extra stuff to pad it out. I didn't play Redfall this long.
I mean, if you need a gameplay, just let me know. I mean, I gave you a ton of gameplay
Oh, I
last
know,
2 weeks ago.
but neither one of
Yeah.
us got Redfall gameplay. We stopped playing that game.
Nah, I mean, I got
Yeah, you stopped playing it too.
yeah, I definitely quit it.
Yeah, I know. He was like,
But I mean,
that's why
I recorded gameplay. I have recorded gameplay of it.
I was
so,
gonna
you know.
I was coming off of it anyway. I was gonna ask you. I said, how much more Redfall gameplay you got? And I thought about saying, Slow Mo ain't got no dang. He quit that game. He quit it as soon as he got through playing it.
I could have gave you the gameplay I had. You know, it's probably about a good 20 minutes of nothing. But yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, Slow Mo, pull up your channel members so we can shout those amazing people out. We also have I don't know if you shouted them out already. Or Aronimus, shout out to you for the 12 months, 10%. And then also shout out to Aronimus for upgrading his membership to the top 1% of the DPS podcast. Really
I
appreciate
think
that
there's
too.
something, I don't know if there's something that you could, because like, I think you should, if you just have the lowest tier, you should still be able to do your milestone. I think.
You
Because I
can.
can't remember. Okay, yes. Well, for some reason he couldn't. So I'll we'll figure it out. We'll figure out if there's something wrong there, and we'll have it resolved by next week.
Oh, that's why he upgraded. He was like, "Yeah, I can't slander Slow Mo in a chat." Shout out to you guys. I really
Why
appreciate
should
it.
you? Why should you? All right.
Why
We
not?
shout out the channel members. We shout out channel members. And again, we appreciate and love that you guys choose to support us in this way. Shout out to Bertadio, Donnell Brown, DexFlex27, John the Don, Vay Babe, Dragonheart Yobi, Enrique Hargi Shanique, Shuf Serm, Arodimus, Ramon Terrell, Homie One Kenobi, Gaming Forte, Corey Hill, Stardust Cicero, and that guy Smitty.
Nice. Really appreciate you guys for supporting that way. And for this channel, we got Aronimus, DevFlex27, Dragonheart Yobi, Stardust Acero, Ramon Terrell, Hargy Chani, Brat, Basement, Radio Arcade Podcast, Corey Hale, Slow-Mo Backsled, DJ Oris, and that guy Smitty. Shout out to you guys, and really love the support that you guys bring to the channel. Slow-Mo, please let these people know where they can find you, what you got going on in your channel, and anything else you want to share.
I haven't done a lunchtime with slow mo in a minute, so I think I might do one tomorrow. And I may drop a video or two before I go on vacation. So some podcast news for everyone. We probably in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, which will be the podcast after the Xbox Showcase, we will probably go. We already are planning to go live on that Friday of that weekend, that Thursday, because I go on vacation that Sunday, and I mean I really will be driving to the beach, which is going to be the beach we're going to is literally 8 hours away from where I live. So I'll be driving during the Xbox Showcase, but I'm coming back that Thursday, but I also have to drive back 8 hours back, and I'm probably not going to be in any kind of mood or energy level to do a podcast. So we're just going to do it for the next day on Friday. But I need to drop some videos. So I'm gonna drop some videos before I go on vacation, and maybe drop one and have the other one scheduled for the week. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, slow mo backslap on everything. All social media is the same name. So check me out if you haven't already. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate Patrick for coming through and spending time with us on his very, very busy schedule. We appreciate that as well. And go ahead, Forte.
Absolutely. For myself, you're already on the channel. Continue to check it out. got a lot of other stuff in the works. I'm gonna share that stuff later once I get a chance to implement it and stuff. But there's some changes coming to the channel, and I just want people to know this. So I appreciate you guys. Make sure you go sub over at if you're not subscribed to it. Go over and subscribe to the Dares Per Second channel. That's where we did the live stream for anybody that probably didn't see us. We did the live stream of the PlayStation Showcase over there last week. So make sure you have that
Put that in the chat.
yep, make sure you have that channel locked and loaded just so you can know whenever we do anything DPS related. When it comes to like extra streams or something like that, we're gonna post them over there so we can get more content on that channel. So we really appreciate if you go over there and hit that channel up. And guys, make sure you have a great weekend. Enjoy the games you're playing. Thanks again to Patrick Gallagher for coming through. Thank you to Ramon Terrell for always doing the amazing work that he does. And we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.